On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick return triumphantly after another round of Ahsoka predictions rang truer than Hammer Guy from Andor. They'll fully put that love letter of an Ahsoka episode to bed before kicking off the pregame for Episode 6, in which they'll lay down some of their most risky predictions to date. Will Anakin be featured again? Was he a ghost? A vision? All of this and more will be answered by the dudes. Fear not, they even have some Star Wars movie news to laugh about because it's not like those are ever happening. Of course, the show will end with the question of the week responses and the latest round of Top 5 Star Wars featured on Punch it, Chewie.
Hey, now everybody, and welcome back to the Star Wars Time Show. Woo! What a 2 weeks it has been to be a Star Wars fan, my friends. I know some of you call us the day late and dollar short podcast, especially when there's a Star Wars show in season, because we stick to our guns and we do not change our programming date. But you still love us. You still want to hear what we have to say, even though it's getting a bit stale at this point in time. We're talking about Shadow Warrior, a.k.a. S1E5 of the Ahsoka series. So yes, we're going to do our tried and true, patented, now sometimes stolen deep dive breakdown into that episode, just to make sure everyone is on the same page and ready for tonight. Because once again, as I scour the Star Wars internet, post excellent Star Wars content, I am left scratching my head like, what do people watch, or what are people seeing that I am not? Like, let's quit reaching for these deep ass theories that tie to a 3-episode arc from animated Star Wars. It's not happening. And if it is happening, it's not going to happen in live action. Maybe more animated Star Wars or comics, but the whole thing with the father, brother, sister, let's just let it go, okay? Let's let it go. All right? Thank you. The other one, Nick, I saw, and who knows, like the best part about Nick and I is we literally do not discuss Star Wars much in between shows. So I have no clue if he has stupid theories or great theories. He has no clue where my head's at on this episode and some of the things. But I can tell him, once again, I saw just some really odd stuff. Like, are you guys paying attention? Like, Nick, one thing I want to spend some time on here, and I guess we'll just kind of scratch the scab. Anakin, a lot of people, for some reason, even after episode 4 and 5, and us, again, correctly predicting the episode, telling you exactly what was going to happen in the WBW, almost verbatim, and I still gave you a lesson on his lesson, just in case. But Nick, there's people going, yeah, you guys are stupid. That's all Ahsoka. That's a vision, just like Luke on the dark side cave on Dagobah. I'm like, huh?
I don't know. I mean, maybe those people haven't seen Rebels.
Oh no, maybe no. These are what I mean, they're making their own content, bro. I mean, they're not just like casuals. They're putting it out there. I'm like, no. And real quickly, I'll kind of eliminate this. There's at least 3 direct things said in this episode that counters that theory and proves that Anakin was indeed Force Ghost Anakin. One, if this is Ahsoka and she is projecting it all, how does she know that Anakin's son told him that he would not face him? That's number 1. Number 2, if she was dreaming it, how did a Force user in Jason Syndulla hear a lightsaber duel? Okay, a duel, again, implies more than one.
Two lightsabers hitting each other.
Number 3, here's number 3, and maybe there's more. Number 3, if Anakin was just Ahsoka's projection, How did he not remember the Siege of Mandalore battle? Okay? Because she would have. He would have. It's his ghost, my friends.
I just don't.
Sometimes we need to just take what's given to us as what it is. There's no reason to dig deeper or to try and get an aha. What was that, Nick?
Yeah, I don't know like what else it would be. Like I don't know what people are trying to push as their theory.
From what I gathered, Nick, they're thinking it's similar to what Luke experienced in the cave on Dagobah when he saw himself as Darth Vader, which was his projections in a dark side cave. He did not see, a Force ghost. He was projecting in the cave. Essentially, if you go to the comics, Yoda, he walks through the cave too. What the cave did is it would project your inner thoughts and fears and make you confront them. Now, I could see that technically that's sort of what Ahsoka was going through, but her fear was never meeting Anakin again. Her fear was becoming Anakin, becoming Vader Anakin.
That's what's confusing to me is like in the dark side cave, there's clearly a reveal where you're like, oh, okay, this is like an internal moment with Luke as he like processes a lot of things. Like he's processing that his father is Darth Vader. He like literally had just learned that. Like he's processing what this means for him and his journey to become the, potentially the new Jedi that could right the galaxy and everything like that. I mean, this is a completely different circumstance. If anything, you could say that maybe this is, this was Ahsoka's like, this is like her trip down memory lane before she passed away, like as people usually say in current life, when we have a near death moment, then, your life flashes before your eyes. You see all of the important moments in your life. I mean, it would be more akin to that than it would be like a dark side cave moment for Luke or something that Yoda went through in the comics. But it's like, I do think that Star Wars fans, because there's so much lore and so much history behind the franchise itself, that they try to dig too deep too often. And in this one, it's like you said, it's kind of fed right to us. This is the world between worlds. This is actually Anakin coming to her for the first time in Force Ghost form, and like trying to explain to her that her life is not defined by his failures. Like it was pretty clear. I mean, obviously the beginning of it was also like, the reason he kept saying fight was probably like, hey, you're going to die if you don't fight. I mean, Nick,
that's it. Like, I think a lot of people don't understand double entendres can mean more than just sexual innuendos, okay? He truly was saying choose to live or die both in the world between worlds and physically. Like, hey, are you just want to fucking give up? Because you've given up on yourself since you realized that I was Darth Vader. Like, you've literally stopped living the Ahsoka you were prior to you realizing that I fell. And in one video I want everyone to watch that listens to this little show. And if you're here with us live, we love you. Go ahead and hit all those likes and all that happy horse shit. Tell a friend, tell your mom, tell your pets. 5P East, YouTube.com, Tuesdays or maybe Wednesdays next week. You never know. But that's where we're at. So I found this, Nick, farting around on the internet like I do on Twitter, from a fantastic handle, by the way, on Twitter. No, I'm not going to be one of these people, X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm going to call it fucking Twitter, because that's what its URL still says, because this fucking idiot doesn't know what he's doing. So over on Twitter, we've got this user, Thrana Del Rey. All right, everyone.
Nice.
Let's get a few cheers for that. That's a fantastic fucking handle. Thrana Del Rey put out this kind of super cut. And listen, you heard it on this show too. I mean, we weren't super down on it, but you're like, Ahsoka is stoic, doesn't seem like herself. Well, yeah, no shit. She hasn't been herself since the Rebels episode, when she reached out to the Force and realized for the first time since Order 66 that, oh shit, Anakin's presence is still here, but it's Darth Vader. You guys remember that episode? She literally goes unconscious when she realizes that. And this video is a great explainer with words from Filoni himself, explaining how Order 66, her perceived Anakin dying during it, and then her realizing that, no, he did not die. The reason I could not feel him in the Force anymore is because he killed Anakin Skywalker and became Darth Vader. And when she realizes that in Rebels, she literally goes unconscious. It fucking breaks the girl. Breaks her until what we just saw in Shadow Warrior. So she remains broken for over a decade. And here's the vid, Nick. I'm going to drop it into the chat. People will have it for posterity because we regurgitate the chat on the recorded version of this podcast. But everyone, do a little homework. Go check out that video. It's fantastic. It should clear up any issues you've had about Ahsoka being portrayed by Rosario in the Mandoverse. Thank you.
I mean, it's the same thing that's happening, or that happened to Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, look at the beginning of the Kenobi series. He's literally
a mopey
shunted
shithead.
himself away in a cave. Yeah, like he is experiencing the same thing that Ahsoka's experiencing, except to for Obi-Wan, to a much higher degree. I mean, he has much more responsibility in Anakin's fall than Ahsoka does, because he was his master. He was the one, and not only that, he was the one that cut him down.
And couldn't kill him. Couldn't finish the damn job, Obi-Wan. If you just would have went up and fucking Balin skulled his head like Balin did to the Star Map, problem fucking solved.
Yeah, over. No more Star Wars.
Ahsoka gets over that shit very quickly as a teen. She's done.
Yeah.
Done.
And I think that like a lot of people, want there to be different things. Like obviously we all, want all of the different eras and all the different parts of Star Wars to link together and make like a nice little, an image that we can all look at and say like, oh, look, this is from Clone Wars all the way to Rebels, all the way to Ahsoka now. But realistically, the Mortis arc that everybody is trying to link this to is just not something that we're probably ever going to see brought into clearer effect in live action, and it may never be explored again, just because it's such a heady concept. And even within that 3-episode arc, there was proof put behind the fact that Anakin would never fulfill the mantle on which he was supposed to in that triumvirate. So, I understand that it's like a really cool and mostly ignored part of Star Wars history now, but this isn't where it's going to be resurrected, this is not, where it's going to be brought back.
We're not sitting here like, I understand it's all canon, and I enjoy that type of shit that gets way out into the weeds. It's never going to make it into live action, especially these short form. And they are short form. I mean, the longest episodes we get might be 42 minutes, 8 episodes for a season. There's just not time to dive into that, to go out into left field, if you will, of Star Wars. So I dig it. I mean, it's all fun. It's all neat. You can kind of understand George was really trying to get almost religious with it, but I don't think he ever saw it much past that arc. It was I think what Nick said, it was just to kind of set up, like, even though Anakin, in my mind, Anakin should have became the father, the true balance between the light and the dark. But I know a lot of people want him to be the brother and Ahsoka the sister, and I know the sister sacrificed for Ahsoka and yada 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 yada. It's not going to be explored. All right. Yeah.
And like, if you just look at, like you said, Matt, the position, like what positionally would he be? Like, would he be the father?
If he's the true chosen one, he's the fucking guy, right? Like, he's the guy.
Yeah.
He's the father.
But the thing is like, he isn't a balance between the light and the dark. Like, he had fallen to the dark side after being, a part of the light side for a bit, but he was neither the paragon of the light or like this overwhelming figure of the dark either. He was just kind of in the middle on both. And it's not like he was the true embodiment of like neutral ground force usage. And he's not dark enough to be the brother, and he's not light enough to be the daughter. Like, it's like, unfortunately, for those of you who are trying to like fit him into this Paragon triangle, he doesn't fit anywhere. Like Qui-Gon Jinn would fit better as the father than he would.
Darth Maul's the bro.
Yeah, like
and Ahsoka probably should be the sister. Yes, I'll give that. Yeah. I'll give her that. She is light as fuck.
Yeah, so realistically, Anakin just doesn't have a space where he fits well in that. That triumvirate.
Nick, check this out. I like you said. I mean, I do. He did, according to George, and this is on tape too. He did fulfill the prophecy. Okay, he is the chosen one. He did bring balance until somehow Palpatine returned because he killed Vader and Palpatine. Okay, Sith were gone. But then, hey, we need to make more money, so they're not really, and we're going to continue things. We get all that. Like it's a shame. But
yeah,
I do feel like in this episode, to kind of bring things back to the present, he showcased that he is extremely balanced now. I mean, he can literally, with the flip of his finger, channel his Vader persona or his righteousness in Anakin. So he has kind of mastered the balance of the Force at this point in time. But again, this is many, many years after the Force was trying to give him lessons when he was living.
Yeah, and the motherfucker's already dead.
Yeah, so, good for him. He figured it out after he murdered millions and then essentially killed himself and his boss.
Yeah, so like... Yes, Anakin Skywalker is an extremely important part of Star Wars, but guess what's not an extremely important part of Star Wars? The Mortis arc. Right. It just isn't.
And again, hey, listen, I know you diehards are like, well, he's got. We know our shit, and I respect it, and like I dig that lore, I really do. But it's just we got to understand that stuff is not going to see the light of day. I mean, there's a chance, just like we dropped in our clip from last week's show. There's a chance we're not going to see one of the main fucking characters from Star Wars Rebels in this series. And we had many opportunities where it would have made complete sense. So if you're not going to get a look at Zeb Orrelios in this show, you're not even going to sniff Mortis stuff. All right?
Yeah.
I mean, they were like, did you see their eyes? It was more like the brother. I'm like, what the fuck do you people pay attention to? Like, quit watching whoever the fuck is out there on the internet telling you this shit. I know a lot of people don't like listening to us, but we're not that fucking bad. Go look at some of our predictions. Look at our speculations. We are fucking killing it.
And then also, like, if he is the father and Ahsoka is the daughter, then who's the brother? Because
Jason Syndulla.
Like who's the dark side guy? You need 3 of them. Like there needs to be 3. And from what I can remember, only one of the 3 died in that arc.
The sister.
Yeah, exactly. So there's 2 of them still alive.
The only thing from that makes it into live action is Morai, which is essentially the spirit of the sister. That's it. That's the only thing I can like. If we see a fucking Star Wars owl floating around, okay, that's Dave's tip of the hat to you all wanting the Mortis shit. But they are not going to dive into it, especially not now. I mean, we got 3 episodes left, and we just spent a full episode with the good guys. So what do you think we're getting this week? Okay, we got to get back to we got to get back to my girl. I even got a shirt of her now. We went a week with no Shin, no Balin. No Morgan, no Sabine.
It's also, this isn't Anakin Skywalker's show. Like they're not gonna like take a detour off of the show that they're making to like get like to do this really roundabout story about Anakin Skywalker becoming the father, or whichever one you want to put him on. It's like we said,
and I'm not trying to yell at everyone today. I'm trying to rein it in. But it's the day old problem with Star Wars fans. It's this headcanon shit, writing your own scripts, and then if one little thing seems to fit your agenda, you're like, see. Oh, here we go.
I don't even see how this fits the agenda.
We got leads saying, I thought Ezra. No, definitely not Ezra. He's not mixed into that triumvirate either. Let's just... Ezra, all that stuff is left cool on Mortis, all right? All that stuff is hanging out in Mortis with the fucking Force planets and all that shit.
Ezra is a really cool character. Ezra is barely a fucking Jedi. Like, let's just be real. Like, it's awesome that he's the character that he is and that he's had the journey that he had through Star Wars Rebels and stuff like that, he's barely a Jedi. Like, he is probably, if
You
you're
might
if you're
say
just
that he's a
going
better
through the-
fucking Jedi than Cal fucking Kestis. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, but he's like a C tier Jedi. Like,
Ooh.
I'm just like, I'm not trying to like shit on Ezra, but you can go
Someone
back to
clip
the
this
history
shit.
of Force users, and Ezra is a C tier Jedi.
Ooh.
And that's just the fact of it. He had shit training from somebody who wasn't even a master from the start, from the Grand Republic.
Nick,
and the most that he could do is communicate with the Purgil through the Force. It's like,
I love that Nick has reduced
understand.
Ezra's accomplishment of essentially saving the galaxy from Thrawn to, hey, he's a fucking slapdick mediocre bomb.
He is, and he
love
wouldn't
it.
have done shit to Thrawn
Flamethrow him.
if the fucking whales wouldn't have come. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
You could put any Jedi that is master tier, even low master Jedis, like from the Grand Republic, in that ship with Thrawn, and Thrawn's dead in 15 minutes. Like, he needs to bring Force whales to help him, and they ported them out of the galaxy.
He
Like,
definitely shouldn't
I
have given his
understand-
lightsaber to Sabine, that's for sure.
It's just like, I understand that like we build attachments to characters through shows, and like that's the entire purpose of it, but not everybody that is the main character of a show is the best Jedi ever, or even a top 5 Jedi. There are so many Jedi that I could name off the top of my head that are better than Ezra, and it's not a bad thing that he's not
Isn't
the
that
best.
a band or a
but the
song
people-
better than Ezra?
Yeah, it is, yes. But it's not like, it's okay for them to not be the paragon of the Jedi or of the
So you're
light side
saying
of the
Ezra's
Force.
just
Not
a dude, right? He's just a dude.
Ezra's he's a Jedi. Like, he's a Jedi like many other Jedi were Jedi.
I love
like-
it. I love it. Hey, where's everyone
Let's
at?
just-
Where's
it's just-
everyone at? Come on. When I say shit, you guys like jump down my throat. No one. It's gone silent. Nick just flamethrowed your Ezra hero, everyone.
Please tell me that, like, how is he more of a paragon of the Jedi than Grandmaster Yoda, or than anybody from the High Republic, or anybody from the Old Republic,
what
or
Nick
any
is
of
saying-
these master tier Jedis that had been around for
Right.
much longer than him, knew much more about the Force, were more powerful in the Force, and especially for those who weren't around in the Grand Republic, they kept the Jedi Order solid for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And people are saying that this kid who was around for what, 10, maybe even less as a Jedi, like, well, surely less as a Jedi.
Maybe like 3 years, if that, 3 or 4 tops.
Yeah, like he's a Jedi. He's kind of a Jedi for 3 years, and it's in a show that a lot of people like, but he's not that type of Force user. He was the Force user that the galaxy needed at that
He's
time.
a hero.
But he's not the Force user that is the paragon of the light side.
So just in
I mean,
case
come on.
anyone thinks Nick's just going for a full troll, he's not. What he's saying is the truth. Like, if you're going to become a part of this triumvirate, you literally have to be the peak. You have to be peak light side or peak dark side. So he is not lying. You may not like the way he delivered it, but he is not lying. I love Ezra.
Like,
he's one of my favorite. Like I said, episode 1, I cried when I saw the fucker on screen. I think he's a goddamn hero, and he did more with less than Luke and Leia did. Take that to the fucking bank. But Nick's not wrong. I just wouldn't, cut his knees off.
He's a hero of the rebellion for sure. Is he a hero of the Jedi?
But he's just a dude. He's not the man.
He's a Jedi at a time where Jedi were sparse, and the things that he did helped to like push forward the rebellion against the Empire in a very big way. But he is not some sort of all-powerful Jedi that should be listed as the paragon of the light. It's just not even close.
Love it.
So yeah, I mean,
Love
like I like him as a character. He is not that.
All right.
Sometimes Star Wars fans need to realize that like the thing that's right in front of their face isn't the most powerful thing on the planet or in the galaxy.
And that's why we're here, man. We learn motherfuckers on a weekly basis. They just need to figure it out. I'm telling you. Although I will say this, and this is going to come to a shock to a lot of you, especially if you've been here a while. You understand the type of person I am, the black void I have in my soul because of my Star Wars narcissism. But for the first time in my life since I was doing this shit, I have found another fan-produced Star Wars podcast that I actually enjoy and do listen to. And it kills me.
There you go.
It kills me to say it as a narcissist. But what our buddy Press Pause Connor is doing over at Beyond the Dune Sea, that's some good shit, okay? You should still watch us first and like our stuff more and promote our stuff. But if you want to not feel guilty cheating on us, that's the podcast to do it. A, they're not stupid. Okay, they don't say dumb shit. And B, it's really well produced for short form social media. It really is. Like Connor is using his filmmaker skills perfectly. So good for them. They got a little pop last week. They just started. They had one of their videos hit on both IG and TikTok. Sadly, I think we're pretty much dead on TikTok. So I've even stopped doing like story shares. I'm just doing like your video for the day and whatever. Instagram's dead. TikTok seems to be where we can get some attention, and YouTube is dead as well. But hey, we're going to press on. But I wanted to get that out there since we don't have a lot of pop culture shit to talk about. The only other really like non-Star Wars thing, look, friends, no fucking sling on, all right? I'm hitting, it'll be 6 weeks on Thursday. I almost have decent range of motion. I ran a fucking 5K on Saturday because that's what you do! Right? I forget. What's it? There's a guy, I think it was a philosopher, Rumi or something, and he said it's something like the cure to pain is in the pain. And I fucking live by that mantra. If you ever get hurt and you just sit around and feel sorry for yourself, you're not going to heal as quickly. You gotta get out there and fucking push it. So I did my first ever 5K, no sling, with a 5-week busted bone. Let me tell you how smart that was. By Sunday, dude. By Sunday, I was like, I think my fucking arm is going to detach, but it's all good. It was fun. I like that. I might do some more 5Ks. The best part is, Nick, zero training, drank beer Friday night, didn't eat before the race, kept my fast going, and still managed to, and I'm not a runner at all, still managed to average, it was 11-minute, 30-second miles. So nice. Not bad for a short fatso who hates running and is essentially Gimli. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go ahead and fire up Two Towers. The line he spits to Legolas, that again is another mantra I believe in.
Dwarfs are built for
That's
short
right.
distance.
Sprint, fine. If you want me to run more than 400 meters, see you later. I'm no elf. All right, dude. Well, that was a nice little opening segment. I feel like we're ready now. I wish I could talk about Ezra. I guess the one thing I'll tease you all on, and please run with this if you want to, we're going to see 3 forms, okay? There you go. I'll give you that little nugget. I don't think my source would be upset with that. But we're going to see the man in 3 forms, and each form is very unique from the other, and the one form is going to be super cool, okay? It'll make a lot of sense, too, I think, once the story hits, too, why he was in these different forms. So I'll leave you at that. But, Nick, let's get into it, man, because like I said at the opening of this episode 278 here on the SWTS, we really have had, over the past 2 weeks, some of the best Star Wars content ever to come out. It feels great to be a fan. It feels great to be a diehard fanboy again. It's just nice to feel like the universe as a whole is behind a Star Wars project for the first time in like almost 20 years.
It's been a while.
It's just fun, right? Isn't it fun, people, to like have fun with Star Wars rather than fucking pick everything apart about it and shit on it? I know some of you still had to get out there and do your diagrams of clone armor and whatnot. And it's like, okay, they did look a little wonky, but that's just because we're used to seeing computer versions all the time. I would say, though, if you are going to do a scene with live action phase 1s, maybe cast some dudes that are in shape. I felt like a lot of those clones were a bunch of fucking fat asses from the 501st that just, volunteered, and no disrespect to that group. They do a lot of great things, but a lot of them are fucking out of shape slobs. And I don't know about you, but then you think sometimes like the clones running by, you're like, hey guys, why don't you fucking cut down on the fucking space donuts or something?
Dude, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't look at the physique of the clones for a second. Like, well, it's not even for a second.
I also watched the episode a few times. So, I mean, I after the first screening, I start to like drill into stuff. But if you haven't noticed,
the only clones that I looked at the 332nd helmet, and I was like, "Ooh, that's sweet." And I looked at Rex, and I was like, "There we go. That's all I needed." They had
all sorts of beef with Rex. Apparently, his his ammo, whatever the fuck it is, on his chest is too big, and apparently some of his armor was backwards. It's like, who's the fucking weirdo now? Like, if you can look at a clone and be like, "Hey, his fucking arm thing's turned around," like, is it me who breaks fake stuff apart? Or is it that person?
Like, is it also possible that they're in the middle of a battlefield and they're running and they're getting hit by shit and falling on the ground and armor shifts?
Yeah.
Is that a possibility?
Have you ever I'm not going to lie. Like, listen, I am pretty much a Kool-Aid drinker when it comes to Star Wars. But when I saw some of those clones, I was like, Christ. Like, just make me taller, God. I could fucking strap on some armor and not look like some fucking slobby male in his 40s or 50s. But anyways, that's not why we're here. We don't focus on that type of shit. We focus on the good stuff. So, Nick, what say you about S1E5 Shadow Warrior?
It was good stuff. It was not my favorite. I'll put that out there right away, just so people know my stance on things.
Nick's going for shock factor today. I could tell.
I still think that episode 4 is my favorite, just because like I loved seeing Anakin Skywalker. I really did. It was great to like get, to basically see like Ahsoka get mentally fixed after all of the trauma that she's been through, and like really being able to set her back on the correct path that she needs to be on. But just in terms of like pure content for this show, and in furthering of plot lines that I'm like super interested in, I think that episode 4 was the better episode. On in this one in particular, obviously, like the highlight is just seeing Hayden really embody Anakin Skywalker again for the first time.
Isn't it a thing of beauty to see this guy like actually? I know I've had a lot of people come to me and be like, "Hey, dude, that's George said he acted exactly how George wanted him to act." And he's like, "That's the problem.
That's
George doesn't know how people should act."
Yeah, it's like George is a fantastic story writer, universe builder, everything like that. As a director for an actor, he says, "Did you read what I wrote on the paper? Good job. Let's go." Like, he does not understand the nuance of performance as much as other people do. And that's, it's not a knock on him. It's just that's not one of his more highlightable skills. It's not a specialty.
I mean, like, just go watch those documentaries that came out on Disney Plus about the making of the original trilogy, or the kind of the other expose that came out on Vice. I mean, it's kind of a thing that George was awkward. Like, just a thing, okay? He listen to Harrison Ford, listen to Mark Hamill, listen to Carrie. They all kind of said something similar, like, "You want me to read this shit? Yep, okay, that's it."
And I think that with the reason why, obviously the reason why the OT was a little bit more, a little less rigid in terms of acting is because he didn't direct 2 of them. It was Kirshner and Marquand, and then he wasn't George Lucas at that time. Like, nobody was looking at him and being like, "Oh, well, I can't tell George anything," right? Because George Lucas at that time was what, THX 1186, and then
American Graffiti. Dude, he was getting told what to do by everybody. Even his wife ended up essentially telling him, "No, Obi-Wan should do this. Obi-Wan should be that." So yeah, I mean, he was not the omnipresent power that he eventually became by the prequels.
Yeah, by the prequels, it's like nobody's telling George anything. And
that's why we have the prequels.
So it's okay that he's not the best director. It's just you have to understand that he's not the best director. And when you put the same actors in front of a different director, you're going to get better performances sometimes. And in this instance, I think this is the true, this is the highest high of Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker that we've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, in my notes here, best live action Anakin to date. It's not even close.
Yeah, 100%.
This is the guy
100%.
when I was fucking, what would I have been? 20, Clones came out in 22. This was the guy. This was the motherfucker, at least by Revenge of the Sith, I was expecting to see. That Anakin. But no. It took a while. We got him. I'm not going to sit here and bitch and moan. We finally got him, but it took almost 20 fucking years.
Yeah, he was on fire. And I mean, even by Hayden's own admission, like he went back and watched some of the Clone Wars to see what James Arnold Taylor did during that time period to like really, incorporate what he did in the live action, but also bring a different side of Anakin out that you didn't get to see in live action.
Even his inflections were matching the animated version of the character.
Exactly. So like even aside from the direction, he did a lot of Hayden. He did a lot of studying up on his own character from other people who played him for even longer than he did. So I think that just there was a lot more content that Hayden could take in and really understand who Anakin is as a character now, aside from just like, what was on the paper during the scripts for the prequel trilogy and what George was telling him. And he also just had somebody behind the camera who understands nuance in acting direction a little bit better. And that's why you got this performance that was really just top notch. No complaints from me in terms of how both the Anakin side and the Vader side were played by Hayden.
I mean, you took another one right out of the notes here. Hayden fucking killing it between the Anakins. It was seamless. That transition he did on Mandalore and then back when they were back in the WBW. Some people look at that, that's fucking acting, people. Like when you can get people to buy into the emotions of a character without any dialogue, just using your facial expressions, that's top-notch shit. So, yeah, I mean, I'm with you, dude. Hayden, clearly the all-star. Rosario obviously has to get, second billing there when we're naming all-stars of the episode. She really embodied the reborn Ahsoka. And then we got to talk about, is it Ariana Greenblatt? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, fantastic little actress, but I think the thing that stood out the most to me is like we finally got to see how young Ahsoka was during the fucking war. I mean, she was a goddamn kid. She was 14 when it started, 17 when it ended, and you finally get to see it because animation, she never felt that young, I mean, obviously she looked real young in the movie because he made her look real tiny and very questionable outfits, perverts. But you didn't understand how young she is. You really got to take that in those live action retellings of the Clone Wars. It's like, Christ, Ahsoka was a fucking baby going through this shit. She trained her whole life to be a keeper of the peace, and then once she gets into it and gets her master, it's right into, nope, fuck that. You need to be a fucking warrior. And what
were you doing at 14? Right. Like, just think about that.
She's leading battalions of clones.
Yeah, like when I'm 14 years old, I'm my freshman, sophomore year of high school. I can't drive. I can't do anything that adults can do. Have my first girlfriend ever.
Yeah, dude, all I could think about was getting laid or jerking
battles.
off. That's it. Like that was 14-year-old Matt. Like, okay, now I can think straight for a few more minutes. Ooh, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Oh, naked girl, blah, 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 blah. So, great stuff there. I mean, really, it was a 10 out of 10. Doesn't get much better than this. Fantastic through and through. I really like how Jason was used kind of as a vehicle a vehicle of discovery, to really tap more into, all right, this dude's definitely got some middies floating around in his blood. Really kind of bringing him into the fold instead of just being a little shithead side character kid. Really dug that. I thought the World Between Worlds was used perfectly. You didn't get into any bullshit explainers. It made complete sense why it was the venue. I mean, let's be real. She was near dead, just like I told you.
She was all between worlds. She was between life and death. Truly,
think about what it's called. So yes, I do think without a gate, a dead or soon to be fully dead Force user can get into the World Between Worlds. And I liked how he used it to teach her the lesson through time. Like, hey, look, let's go back to where we started. This is who you were, remember? You were caring, compassionate. Then you became a warrior. What I wanted you to be. And then I fucked up and you completely fucking broke yourself because of me. So let's get that corrected. Thank you. We need you to let go of that shit. And you need to understand that I love that line. He's like, listen, man, I'm still fucking Anakin Skywalker. I'm still fucking awesome. That was great. And that is vintage Anakin Skywalker, by the way. Like, even after committing the atrocities he committed as Vader, he's still like, listen, motherfucker. Yeah, I fucked up. But I'm still me.
Yeah, I'm still the chosen
I still
one, baby.
did some
you
great.
Can't take that away.
I still did some great shit. And by the way, it wasn't my slapdick son. Ultimately, I'm the one that brought balance back to the Force. So I thought that was perfect. I don't know if anyone picked up on that, but that is the arrogance of Anakin Skywalker that ultimately, got him in trouble. But it was funny that even in all the destruction, trying to teach a lesson, he's still like, you know what? I'm fucking great. So you are too. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. What else we got? Yeah, Hayden was masterful. Nick said that. The switch was just fucking brilliant. I really did dig the visuals, even though I poked fun at the clones. They looked a little fat and dopey. Oh well. But I'm not gonna lie. When I was seeing those scenes and you see Hayden in the armor and then you see live action Snips and they're talking, I got the feels. I was like, my God, this is fucking beautiful. For someone like me that put in all this time, all the years watching the cartoons, it's fucking art.
It was one of the things that it took the most delicate touch to be able to do it well, and Filoni really just kind of brought it home perfectly. Obviously they nailed the look and feel of the characters, but they also nailed essentially regressing both Anakin and Ahsoka to that time in their lives, not only physically, but just emotionally, especially for Ahsoka, like experiencing those battles again for the first time and really understanding, looking at it through a new lens and understanding the impact that it had on her life moving forward. Because that's one thing that is just outside of Star Wars. Whenever you're put in situations like that, you don't have beings of sentient beings don't have the ability to process traumatic moments like that in the moment. So her Anakin taking her back through those moments, her understanding the effect that it had on her life and understanding how she went from who she was as Snips the first time that we met her in the Clone Wars movie to who she is now, and truly being able to process her journey as from a teenager to an adult, and understand how all of the things that happened in her life have led her up to this moment, and truly being able to understand and process that. It was a beautiful piece of art that we saw in episode 5 with these scenes.
It's great. And Connor here, you just reminded me how stupid people are. This is one I did not know about, Nick, here, but apparently there's a large section of the fandom that thought this episode took place during the Clone Wars. I don't know.
What the fuck?
Now, is it a surprise to anyone that, this country in particular is a dumpster fire? We can't even process science fiction anymore. You think motherfuckers are going to be able to navigate the real world with all the misinformation and bullshit out there? Christ. End it. Send the goddamn asteroid. Where are the aliens? They're saying they're real. We saw bodies last week. Just fucking take us over. Please.
Yeah, please. I understand that that's what you saw. You saw the Clone Wars, but it didn't take place during the Clone Wars. I thought it was pretty clear that we were doing a little bit of
she literally falls through the floor and it whatever. Literally, Star Wars could be one of the most remedial fan bases in the galaxy. Come on. What the fuck? I know he said he made it for kids, but are kids really watching it and asking these types of questions? No, it's the fucking adults. Fuck.
Yeah, man, it's a question for sure.
All right. How do I want to go through this one? How do I line out the screens here? Yeah, by the way, check out our breakdown. It's nice and long. I also cut out the lesson part for people that didn't quite pick up on what that was. I mean, I thought the lesson was pretty clear. We literally speculated exactly what it was going to be, and then I recapped it for you now with context, so you can check that out as well. I don't know if we really need to spend a ton of time on that now. There's so many lesson videos out there. And even when you tell them exactly what it meant, they're still like, nah, you're wrong. It was this, that, and the other thing. So who gives a shit? It was a very clear lesson. It had double meaning throughout the entire episode. Live or die, truly. Do you want to live or die? And really, one thing I wrote down when he kept asking that question, and it makes a ton of sense that someone like him would ask that. I mean, what did he do to himself when he chose darkness? He killed himself, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is a lesson that we learned in Kenobi. I mean, like we knew it.
Anakin literally says,
so, like,
you didn't, it's not your fault, bro. I killed him.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did. That was his line to his former master, to Obi-Wan Kenobi, as they're fighting in the series. Like, if it's not that, like, it can't be much more clear.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally a reference to his own moment when he chose to kill his good side and become Vader. And what was he? He pressed her all the way up until she was channeling the dark side. You know, I was sitting there back. I looked at it close to this and that. I zoomed in. Her eyes went Sith. Okay. I know her contacts are white, but I'm telling you, it's a very orange change. And then she chooses to live. It goes away. There's a difference between her and Anakin when he had his choice. He chose to die and succumb to the dark side, his rage and whatnot. She did not. She chose to live. His lesson finally paid off. He did the old, okay, I'm back. Thank you. I wish I didn't have to take the Vader, but you were so fucking hung up on that aspect of my legacy that we had to go there. Now that you've beaten that side, and I've told you that it's not all that bad. You two were great, and you can still be great. Now you are reborn. Thank you. You can love me. You can have good feelings about me. It's okay, even though I became this big piece of shit that seriously blanked out your mind for a decade. So there you go. There's a lesson shortened. But based on the way I have the screens here, Nick, let's go ahead and start with... forget. I guess top moments. No, eggs, references. Yes. All right, so Nick, when Hera's there, hanging out with my boy again, Huyang, great moments in this episode. He truly is an all-star. But her little scanner thing, that's what Han and/or Luke were using on Hoth, I believe, right? That's like a rebel scanner. So yeah, we got that taken care of. The big shit is out of the way. Good stuff here from Teva, right? We got a great. This is the type of lore I love. And it's what I asked for, Nick. Okay, we didn't get the hologram, but what did we get? We got some insights into what the senator is up to, and I'm talking about the good senator, the best senator, as Nick said, the Senator Organa. So not only did we learn through literally one line of dialogue from Teva that Leia is still in the Senate, but she is already rebel rousing in the Senate and supporting the resistance. See what I did there? She's supporting the early resistance. All right. Love that. Okay. It's just little shit like that. I mean, that again, why this episode kicked ass. Then sticking with Teva, what do we get? We get another little drop. One we've all been waiting for. We saw the picture, even though it wasn't purposeful. If you had a keen eye, you saw it. But they finally ripped the scab off Nick and they dropped the name. Yeah, hell, yeah, he can do that because his dad's a fucking Jedi Master, Kanan Jarrus. It was good to hear his name spoken. That's all we need. We don't need ghosts or Force talk or Force walkie-talkie. That's all we needed. So thank you, Huyang and Teva.
Yeah.
Very obvious one here, but, we get all the stuff in the flashback. Our exclusive pays off. We got the 4 versions of Ahsoka now. Just like I told you last week, she was going to come out the white. It's almost like I know what I'm talking about. Just fuck off to everybody that thinks they're better. You're not. But look, I mean, she's in her Clone Wars garb. We got the dude in his General Skywalker garb. I mean, it was reference central. You could possibly call these Easter eggs because a lot of people have not seen the animated series, but those who have, they're showing up here. It's nice little fucking, pumps for us. We got to look at Phase 1 Captain Rex. He didn't look as bloated in his Phase 1 armor there at the initial vision. We got Phase 1 clones who were out of shape, Dunkin' Donuts before they had to shoot their scene. All great. I mean, there's so much fucking callback. It was ridiculous. Live action Mandalorians.
The Mandalorian, I think, looks so cool in live action. It was just such an awesome look.
And they really
translated.
They really
so
did, because
well.
there's a lot of people now. I was like, listen, I wish I had the balls to do this, because I could do this. We got our account deleted for a reason we don't know. But it seems that every other Star Wars account out there can take copyrighted material and just either steal it from other accounts and post it as their own, or rip it straight from Lucasfilm. No big deal. But this segment, Nick, and her intro and kind of her acrobatics and whatnot almost directly mirrors the opening of Siege of Mandalore when she, jumps down, lands, and kind of gets to it. And like I said, you can see that on pretty much every other Star Wars fan account, because they can post whatever they want. We cannot. So that's why you don't see it on our pages. There she is in her blue, just like we told you, looking fantastic. Ariana Greenblatt for president. That's the other thing, Nick. I mean, she was playing young Ahsoka, but as old Ahsoka, like that's a heady job.
So she still has the memories
Correct.
and everything.
She's essentially Rosario, but not.
Yeah. And it's like, even though she has experienced this before, like clearly she's been through all of these battles and has the memories of it. It's the way that she's looking at it. It's the way that she's processing it. It's the way that she's understanding it.
Decades of experience have passed since, though. And you got to remember here, I mean, Siege of Mandalore, she's 17 tops, people. 17 tops.
Yeah.
And there he is, Phase 2 Rex, and everyone, hates his ammo belt there on his tit.
Can Rex not have 2 ammo belts? Do you think that throughout this entire war, the entire Clone Wars, that this dude only had 1 ammo belt? You don't think it's possible?
It's that it was too big, Nick. It's too big on his chest, apparently.
But like, do you think that they just had do you think that the Republic had the resources to make exact replicas of everything that they have? I'm just thinking in terms of like real life. Like if you're really gonna get down to like, it's too big. What about the fact that like this motherfucker's in a war and that's probably his 8th ammo bag that he's had the last 2 weeks?
Nick's got an explanation for you people that are too anal about clone armor placement and how they wear it.
You really think that Rex only had 1 ammo bag through the entirety of a war? Then you have no idea how real life works. I can't keep a bag that I bought and keep in my house around for more than 2 months without losing it. And you think that this guy is in the middle of a war, being shot at, thrown around, exploded, just has the same ammo bag all the time? Like,
well, yeah, no, Nick, he picked this one up off the battlefield from a fallen 332nd clone whose nickname was Tubbs. Get it?
There you go.
This is from Tubbs.
He was
the bigger clone, so he of course he had a bigger ammo pouch. Either way, there is a second version Rex, the Rex that really kind of became the guy for most fans throughout the Clone Wars. I don't know, man. I still, even though he kind of he kept the best of both clone phases, I still think I prefer Rex with his fin, the full fin.
I'm always a fan.
What do you think?
Finn.
Yeah, you're going.
I'm a big Finn
right,
fan.
Me too. All right, that works. What else we got here? Siege of Mandalorians. We got all that, and like we told you in our exclusive and our prediction, she was reborn as the White, and yes, the character is anew. She is back to Ahsoka, and it makes complete sense. We were all stupid. All right, she is literally reborn. The guilt has been taken off. She understands that it's okay that she was Anakin's Padawan, even though he has that stink on him. it's okay to still kind of love the guy and appreciate what she learned from him. It's okay to be tied to his legacy, even though a lot of it is death and destruction. She is back. Yeah. She's in her final form, which means she's eventually going to die. But it was nice to see her. I thought the costume looked great. Rosario it was a completely different character, and that was the point. We love it. Thank you, Anakin.
Yeah.
All right.
Good shit.
So let's go ahead and now we'll rip through some top moments, and then literally I have like 55 bullet points of that maybe we'll touch on, maybe we won't. But first top moment, Nick, is got to go to my man Hu Yang. I thought that was a beautiful way to kind of kick into the episode. You know, they teased it through Hera and Chopper and Jason, but then you kind of hear rocks falling. You're like, oh, is she just hanging on? And no, it's literally Hu Yang, depressed, just sitting there going, they never listen. Like he's literally gutted as a fucking sentient robot. He's feeling it. And I wouldn't even say he's technically sentient, but he's like, he's feeling it. Like he's having emotions like, oh fuck, they didn't listen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he understands the loss. And then just like the fact that he was sitting there and he was holding Sabine's helmet was just like, it felt so human for something that is so not human.
I felt sad for him, and he made me sad. I was like, well, yeah, I'm sad too when you think about it, Hu Yang. I know where they're at, but I'm still sad for you because you're sad. So I love this guy. He has moved. He hands down top 5 droid, if not in the top 3. I know I just put Chopper up there in the top 3, but shit, Hu Yang is the dude.
He's just like, because he can speak in full, like it's just so much easier to connect with him emotionally. Right. So,
well, he is, and I'm going to correct Bat here. He's actually 25,000 years old, Bat, not 2,500. So yeah, I mean, he's been around like old
Since
Republic.
The old Republic. Yeah.
So yeah, this guy's got knowledge of every single fucking Jedi up until Order 66. I mean, that's how,
like programmatic knowledge. That's why he can tell Sabine, like, you suck. I've seen them all.
In 25,000 years, he's like, no, you are the worst. The same reason he was able to identify Baylan as one of the assailants, because he's like, in all my time, there's only been one hilt built this way, Baylan's skull. So yeah, he's an encyclopedia. But he is the man. I mean, he's not a protocol droid. I mean, he's literally a Jedi trainer droid archivist something.
Yeah, exactly. Like that is his designation.
Lightsaber
like,
builder. I mean, he's like everything.
Yeah.
Mechanic.
Yeah,
we see him working on. I mean, he's C-3PO. He's R2. He's Chopper. All jammed into one with 25,000 years of Jedi lore in his fucking circuits.
Yeah, and I mean, you gotta imagine too that he has to be, if it really comes down to it, he's probably an excellent lightsaber combatant too, just because of all of the teaching he's had to do.
It's programmed into him. And by the way, he can Grievous if he wants to.
Yeah, I know. He's got 2 extra arms. They're tiny, but they're there.
They're like little T-Rex back arms.
Yeah, little T-Rex arms.
There's a shot of him where, Hera discovers him. It was a great shot by Dave. I don't know if he set it up or his DP. It was fantastic, but just they never listen. And we kick into the title cards. A great opening there. Moving on. I mean, Jesus, pretty much anything in the world between worlds. But I even like the opening, not even into the fight, but the opening where they're right back to their relationship, where they're making fun of each other. He's poking fun at her because she looks old. She's like, you don't even, you look the same. Because, well, guess what? Nick and I were right. I just watched the video again today as George was trying to explain that shitty edit in Return of the Jedi. He's like, no, they would go back to their form when they killed their light side. So, yes. It's just, I know we wanted crispy Anakin, but it's just before that. It's going to be long hair mullet boy Anakin. Yeah. So, but I just...
It's the one where he's kneeling on the ground crying before he gives himself to the dark side. He should just be persistently crying.
Like
that
he's
should be his
cowardly lion or some shit.
Yeah.
So Nick, it was like, there they are. There's the fucking characters from the cartoons right on our screen as flesh and blood. And Rosario and Hayden didn't miss a fucking beat. Just like Nick said, I mean, we know Rosario has studied Ashley in the animated, but now it's confirmed. I mean, Hayden definitely channeled Lanter. He channeled sometimes even how they would animate him and how Anakin would walk in his arm or move, the turns. You know, there's so many parallel shots of these two that you can compare to the animated series where they're, you know, the one where they got their hands crossed and they're looking at each other. I mean, direct shot from the Siege of Mandalore arc. Just fucking kick ass. Fucking A. It's like everyone coming out of the woodwork again. Oh, Dave Filoni's God. Dave Filoni's been at Disney Star Wars since it was fucking sold, people. So all you dumb fucks that keep, I hate Disney Star Wars. That's fucking Dave! Will you quit being selective with your hate? You either fucking hate it or you don't. Just come out and say why you hate Star Wars. We all know what it is. It's that fucking neckbeard, racism, non-enlightened bullshit you have in your soul. Has nothing to do with all the other shit you said it does. You fucking pussies. But then they get into the fight and you're like, Jesus Christ, man. Hayden has not forgotten a thing that Mr. Gillard taught him. No, he's like, Nick. I would say he's even better.
I would really like, you know, we've talked to Nick in the past, but I would really like to see what his thoughts were on that sequence.
He'll hate it, like, because he didn't do it. Dude, that's just,
he didn't do
listen,
it.
Man, I've learned that through my own stunt buddy. Being in that industry jades them the fuck out. Like, if they're not doing it, it sucks and they hate everyone involved and they end up hating the property. And I love Gillard. He's the fucking man, but he's written Star Wars off.
Yeah, I think that he's probably done with it. But man, I mean, it was just
I still think Sun Moon, who I believe does the sword fight, borrowed from his style. I mean, Anakin was fighting violently, even as Anakin here, to kick things off.
Yeah, 100. I mean, like, they definitely studied like all of the lightsaber techniques and the moves that Nick had implemented in the prequel trilogy to like more accurately translate that over into the show. For sure. I mean, there were direct moves and movements that were taken
twist,
from,
like the reverse turn twist counter. Yeah. I mean, these fights, Nick, to me, were straight out of the prequel era. You know, last week we're like, what we saw with Baylan and Ahsoka, that's something new almost. It's kind of a hybrid of pure, you know, traditional samurai duels, the fastness and more acrobatic nature of the prequel duels, but then the more methodical, slower paced duels we got in the OT and the sequel trilogy. It was like it was the best of all styles, where this episode I really feel, well, makes sense. We were in that era with those characters, but we went back to the prequels and shit was violent, fast, you know, nothing but counter to counter to counter to counter. There's almost no openings because they're so damn quick and they know each other so well. To me, even though it was way shorter than, it's not Duel of the Fates. What is it when it's the brothers fighting?
There's the episode 3 fight. I don't know if they gave that a name.
It does have a name. I just was looking at the soundtrack. Who cares? But their fight just it felt prettier to me. It looked better. I could have watched these two battle nonstop. I mean, her having dual blades obviously changes the visual dynamic, but I don't know. I think these battles, to me, they're more entertaining, more engaging than the Mustafar duel.
yeah, I think it was. I mean, and it's also like to a degree, like, there we go. Anakin
Battle of the Heroes. Thanks, prop. That's what it is.
Yeah, that was like the title of the soundtrack song or something like that. Yeah. I mean, and like to a certain degree with this as well, like Anakin through this fight is trying to show her like feed her information about like his past through his fighting, and like this is
the line. Go ahead. What line does he give her? Do you remember?
Oh, geez, I can't.
Well, this is where, you know, just like his own son, when he came at him, she's initially like, "I will not face you," and he's like, "I've heard that before." Whack, whack, whack. It's like, yeah, I love how this guy fucking teaches. That's the other thing. Like, This is Anakin Skywalker as a master to a Padawan. This is how he handles lessons, people. This is what you probably missed through the Clone Wars if you did not watch it. He is not a traditional instructor. Even though, yes, they're talking about how the legacy of the master is passed all the way down the chain. Okay, a little bit. But Anakin, for the most part, he instructed in his own manner, and it very, very loosely resembled what he would have got from Obi-Wan, and definitely not what the Jedi Temple probably wanted a master to do.
I mean, you also have to realize too that Anakin was raised and became a knight in wartime. Like, so the training that you impart on your Padawans, your learners, all of those who are taking instruction from you have to be relevant to what's happening in the moment. Right. Like, it's not like when Obi-Wan was coming up and Obi-Wan was 12, 13 years old, and it was peacetime, and all they had to worry about was some, interplanetary skirmishes or some trade negotiation talks and shit like that. Like, you need to be able to step on a battlefield and protect and defend your life and the life of those, the lives of those around you.
He says as much
your
in this episode, right? He's like, listen, I was trained in a time of peace. I was a peacekeeper, but then the war started and you were ready to be trained, and now we have to learn how to be warriors. So
yeah, I mean, it's arguable that he was trained in a time of peace. I don't even think that's accurate, because he was raised, or like, he became a Padawan learner right as the war against the CIS was starting. So
that wasn't the war. That was just the Trade Federation starting. It took 10 more years for the war to really truly kick off. So he had about 10 years of what we'd call old school Jedi training.
I mean, I guess, like, it's just like, from the very beginning there was conflict. Like, even if it wasn't like full scale galactic conflict, there was still conflict that was more than the Republic had seen up to that time. Like, before the trade disputes between the Trade Federation and Naboo,
still one of the dumbest fucking things.
What the fuck was going on?
Did you think about what Nick just said? We literally kick off the prequels with a trade dispute.
Yeah, that turns into a full-scale battle where the first Sith that has been seen in centuries is introduced.
I know it was all Palpatine's ruse, but literally, that's how we kick things. That Palpatine kicks off his grand plan with a trade dispute of his home planet. I guess that just again showcases his brilliance. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, so I guess like his entry into the Jedi was like during a time of probably heightened conflict and battle that hadn't been seen in a while, and then you come back down and it
also to your point, he could never be trained like a traditional Jedi because he came in at 10 years old.
Yeah, he was younger, or he was older than he was supposed to be already.
So he was never traditional. Therefore, he never taught traditional, and that's why Ahsoka is not traditional.
And you have to figure that, like, as soon as the Jedi Order is aware that, like, oh shit, like, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Qui-Gon Jinn was killed by a Sith, and Obi-Wan Kenobi fought and defeated a Sith. That changes the way that training is happening. It's like, okay, we're moving from all is well in the galaxy and has been for centuries to there's some shit going down that we really aren't aware of yet. So, like, let's maybe focus a little bit more on combat training, which is why in the beginning of episode 2, I mean, like, obviously Anakin is going to be an advanced fighter just by means of him being
he's holding me
the chosen
back.
one. Yeah, but like he's fighting, he's doing lightsaber duels against Master Yoda when he's still like a Padawan learner. Like, this dude isn't even like a full Jedi Knight yet, and he's dueling with Master Yoda. Do you think if this is true peacetime that he is dueling Master Yoda for training purposes? I don't think so. Like, I just think that there was a lot of strife in the galaxy at that time, even before the war officially started, that they like their training regiments had probably
all
changed
by
and
design
shifted.
from Sheev himself. Remember, it's the
right.
long game,
Yeah.
motherfuckers, and he is the best at it. Yeah, so yeah, we love our Anakin. There's no doubt about it. All right, just moving right into all the Clone Wars shit. I mean, come on, it just getting the live action portrayal of the Battle of Ryloth. I agree with our buddy in here as one of our. It's become new fando here. I think it's Mando something. Sorry, I forget the full name, but they too get turned on by female Twi'leks, and we felt there should have been more female Twi'leks showcased during the Battle of Ryloth, but it's okay. But like Nick was saying, it was good to see Hayden as this version of Anakin, because it's a different version we haven't seen him portray. We've seen him at Padawan Anakin, Jedi Knight Anakin, Vader Anakin, and then obviously Vader. So we get to see a new portrayal, and as we've been saying, you could tell Hayden did his homework, because yes, obviously he is the guy, and Matt Lanter built his performances based on Hayden, but Hayden too took what he learned through the Clone Wars and kind of added a bit of that flair to his version of Anakin, and it just paid off. Like, all these scenes were great, fat clones aside. It just looked awesome. I mean, you could tell it was done on the volume, but even there, I preferred the practicality, even with the dopey looking chubby clones. It just, everything about this just screamed Star Wars nostalgia. Plus the cinematography. I mean, I'll pull up the shot that everyone's been creaming their jeans over, but when she watches him walk out into the field, and you get that flash, and he turns into the guy, and then flashback, he's back to Anakin. I mean, come on. Where are you getting shots like this in Star Wars? I mean, maybe Andor, I think we talked about, had some really beautiful cinematography, but outside of that, Star Wars isn't really known for artistic visuals. It's more known for low-level dialogue, the Force, good guys winning, and pew pew, zip zip, zoom zoom,
laser sword, swing.
So Dave really focused on let's bring some high art to this motherfucker. And that shot, I have it up on the live stream now. If you ever want to join us, don't forget 5P East, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. It was just fantastic, that transition between the characters. And like you said, Nick, hearing Ahsoka as an adult who's lived, reflecting on those moments from when she was a child, that was just all fantastic Star Wars. I mean, this is fucking Star Wars. Shit, I'm sweating. I get so excited thinking about it. I mean, look at the guy. Look at Hayden. His short hair, his general armor on. I mean, it's picture perfect, as they say. Look at Ariana, young Ahsoka, perfect. With her lightsabers on Mandalore, perfect. All right, it doesn't get better. It really doesn't. I want to caution everyone as we head into the final 3 episodes. Temper yourselves, okay? I think we're going to get great content, don't get me wrong. But you are not going to get this level of nostalgia excellence moving forward. I'm not saying we're not going to see or hear from the guy again. We most definitely are, and we're going to talk about that. But you are not going to get this level of fan service moving forward, because we still have a story to tell.
Yeah, I mean, there's, we got to get back onto the what's going on in the New Galaxy train.
It's like I said earlier, we literally spent nearly 50 minutes just with the good guys, which means episode 6, when I get to my predictions, I think they may do a course correction, and we're with the bad guys the whole time. I'm all for it. Or it's going to be like a 75-25 split. Okay, moving on. Top moments here. Next up, Siege of Mandalore. I love seeing in live action. It's the greatest 3-episode arc of the Clone Wars. I mean, just talk about everything. It is everything. It's the culmination of that series, and then funnels us right into Bad Batch, Rebels, and beyond. It is some beautiful Star Wars storytelling. So I loved, like Nick said, seeing Ahsoka and Rex there, Commander Tano, and then seeing the 3:30 seconds in live action with Ahsoka. arms folded. But more importantly, Nick, what I really loved about this scene is when Homeboy shows up and they have their second chat before the final
and he's
chat.
like, I don't remember this.
Yeah, he's
one.
like, hey, you did good, Snips.
Yeah.
Like you became the warrior that I trained you to be. And she's like, oh yeah, this is, you know, after I left you and all that fun stuff. And the reason they picked this, just in case people forget, this is literally the battle where he fell, where Anakin turned.
Yeah.
I mean,
and like
after this battle, she's on the ship celebrating, and it comes over the
that's when
wire.
everybody turns on her. It's the moment, and she feels his fall during the Battle of Mandalore.
I'm
like
telling
she feels
everyone,
it.
watch that Twitter link I put into this video's chat if you're on the live stream. It's very well done. It cuts up Filoni speaking about Ahsoka breaking and why she broke, and then it kind of gives the imagery, so it's money. But I just love the talk, and you know, he was in this moment, Nick, again trying to get her to realize the true lesson, like live or die, get over me, get over my fall, release yourself of that guilt. Yes, you are tied to my legacy, just like Balin told you. He's not wrong. Death and destruction. Now it makes sense. The Clone Wars. I get it now. Thank you, Balin. I'm stupid. But you are not me. You don't have to become me. You won't become me because you can choose to live. You can choose to let go all that shit. Let it go. I'm giving you permission. And I'm reminding you, like we said earlier, that I'm the fucking man. I'm Anakin Skywalker. And just because I fucked up in my 20s doesn't mean what I did, I didn't do anything great in life. Because I did. I did a lot of great stuff until I was about 23 years old. And then around 40, I came back and fixed the galaxy for a little bit until Homeboy's essence somehow escaped the tailpipe of the Death Star and made it over to Exegol. Somehow he returned.
I mean, realistically, who doesn't fuck up in their 20s, right?
Yeah,
like everybody does.
Going to the dark side, committing genocide against your order.
Who hasn't done that?
Yeah, you know, when I was 23, I was like, yeah, I'm going to walk into a Catholic church and start slaying motherfuckers because, hey, I'm 23.
That's just how it was. Yeah, that's just how it is. Everybody goes through their Darth Vader phase.
Fucking little child murder here or there in your 20s. Hey, you're still a kid, right? Right?
Yeah, you know, everybody's got growing up to do.
But I really think, you know, Hayden just once again nailed the essence of this character. His arrogance, which we all know is deserved. I mean, he had a reason to be arrogant, and everyone told him he was the chosen one, and he was pretty fucking great. But I loved as he's trying to drive the lesson home. He's still like, you know, yeah, did some bad, horrible things, but I'm Anakin, bitch. Like, I'm Anakin. Yes, come on. I'm still pretty fucking great. I am the chosen one after all. So I loved it.
And I think, like, one thing that I also think is important just outside of the show aspect of this is, like, what this means for Hayden as a person.
Yes, redemption tour, you know, 2023.
Like, yeah. And, like, you know, we saw it in the videos and stuff that came out of Celebration last year, the emotional, you know, episodes that he had with the crowd really getting behind him and everything like that. But, like, I think this is bigger than that for him, because this is a moment that he proved to himself that he is this character, and that it was never an issue with him. It was never an issue with you know, who he was or the way that you know, the fans reacted to the prequels or anything like that. Like, this gave him the true feeling that, like, the Anakin Skywalker that is on the screen now and the Anakin Skywalker that is on the screen then is as much me as anything else. And I really do feel like if he has a moment to talk about this, or people ask him about this particular episode, dude, it'll be something that, like, will stick with him for the rest of his life.
Listen, the fact that content is drying up is one reason to hate that the Hollywood strikes are still going on. The studios are dickheads. The fact that these motherfuckers can't be out in real time discussing this type of shit
talking about
is a fucking crime. You know, they've released some pre-recorded stuff. But yeah, Nick, you're 100% correct. The fact that they can't get Hayden on a social or Rosario or them together to talk about this episode or at the end of episode 4 is a fucking shame. Because he once again, this poor fucking man is being robbed of his glory moment. Right? He's not on social
100%.
media, so it's not like he's scanning it. I'm sure, his people are like, oh, hey, they liked it. But he's not able to go out and actually talk about it, share the experience with fans, and then hear, see, feel that fan reception. It's fucking terrible because Nick's right. This motherfucker deserves this. Hayden Christensen deserves these 2 episodes. He deserves more. It's in our Discord if anyone wants to join. We've got an open link in our Instagram at StarWarsTime.show. But I shared a Twitter to Nick. I was like, I really hope this guy's trolling it because they shared a tweet essentially reposting the images of Hayden in this episode. And they're like, wow, with that performance, it'd be really great if someone did a trilogy on this man's early life, talking about Anakin Skywalker. I was like, I really hope you're fucking trolling people because that is a priceless troll.
That's great.
But if you're not, you just prove my point that most Star Wars fans are brain dead. And
it's great.
They literally don't even know what they're watching. But sticking with Hayden in this scene in particular, why it's such a top moment is just, Nick, this is where I felt his acting was peak. When she's pushing back, all right, we get into the dialogue here, but my part of that legacy is one of death and war. But you're more than that because I'm more than that. You are more Anakin, but more powerful and dangerous than anyone realize. Is that what this is about? Okay? The acting by Hayden throughout this whole scene, and obviously Ariana, was just fucking choice. And that when he says that, is that what this is about? He realizes, like, okay, she's fucking stuck on this. She is stuck on the Vader thing. That's why she cannot choose to live. That's why she wants to die. She is broken because of my Vader persona. And then we get you've learned nothing. Back to the beginning. I gave you a choice, live or die. And right like that, Hayden goes from the wise and righteous light side Anakin to the Vader that Palpatine wanted. And Nick, I think that was probably my favorite part was once he goes Vader and then they cross back over into the WW, that shot there where he's just hulking at her and you can see is like this, my friends, is what Obi-Wan robbed Sheev Palpatine of. This motherfucker, flesh and blood, 3 appendage having Anakin, this is who he wanted. Because when he flips that switch, dude, you're like, holy fuck. I mean, just the veracity, the anger, the power that he showcases is uncanny.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. And like, this is, like you said, Obi-Wan Kenobi, anything you should feel from this also, aside from what's happening here, Obi-Wan is a badass motherfucker. Like Obi-Wan took this dude who's probably one of the strongest Force users of this time and, of times past as well, and was able to, I wouldn't say handily defeat him, but Obi-Wan got away unscathed. Like, and he was able to take him down and like essentially save the galaxy for as much as he could without actually killing him. Like,
what, dude?
Mean, this Anakin or this Vader is.
I would even argue that this is even more peak than Mustafar Vader.
Oh yeah, because he's controlled.
Right. He has 20 plus years experience of being a bad guy now. So yeah, I mean, this is, like I said, this was the ultimate form that she was going for, and the form that probably would have had him actually execute his plan better than he even did. I mean, if he had this guy by his side the whole time and not some dude he could ragdoll and beat the shit out of and literally tear apart and put back together, it could have been a different story for maybe even Palpatine himself, because we all know what the Sith like to do after a while, and that's
Anakin would have chopped Palpatine
he would have usurped that motherfucker
like
3.5 years.
Dude. Like he would have taken him to task. But yeah, I mean, like the whole, like in the lesson that's being taught to Ahsoka is not just like an Ahsoka and Anakin thing. Like it's an everybody thing. he's essentially telling her, like, you can't define somebody by one moment in their life, and not even one moment, but like one section of their life. Like we were saying, like, like Anakin was Vader for, you know, less than half of his life, truly. Like he fell to the dark side when he was, what, 23, 24, somewhere like that, and he died 19 years later, so less than half of his life. And he's trying to teach Ahsoka, like, you can't, like, my entire life is not defined by the moments that I was Darth Vader. Like, and that goes to, like, you can apply that to everybody, like all of the relationships that you have in your life. You shouldn't define somebody by their worst moments, and that's what's been happening to Ahsoka,
even if they kill
for her
all
entire
your
life
friends, your family, couple planets, hey, you still got, hey, right? Let's just say the Force is very much like Catholicism. You could light the planet on fire, but as long as you ask forgiveness, you're good, right?
Yeah,
you're good.
I mean, that is what George built it off of. That's what his tenets were for this. So, but yeah, I mean, like, you know, obviously in extreme cases you can do that, and you could, you know, Vader is definitely an extreme case, but it's a good lesson to keep within your interpersonal relationships, is to not define somebody by the worst moments of their life, but try to look past that and always know that there is redemption if people look for it.
All right, Nick, question for you here. When it's Ahsoka, gray form, fighting Vader, does he let her get the advantage, or does she truly best him with his own blade?
That's such a hard question, right? Like,
I took it as she beat him with a move, me personally.
Yeah, like, I think, I mean, it does, you have to kind of like read his face a little bit. And I think that in the moment there is like a bit of surprise, but there's also a bit of disappointment, because he knows that the only way that she could have done that is to lean a little bit too far. Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. I like that take. I didn't think about that, but I do dig that, because you would think if he was going for a true duel, even though she unarmed him and had him, it seemed, dead to rights, couldn't he have just fucking force pushed her away to get some separation for a little bit?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, so I like what you're saying there, where he realized, like, oh, she's at my moment. Is she going to choose to live or kill herself?
Yeah, it's like that's the moment that he was waiting for. That. And like that, the shot that you pulled is the shot. It's like that look of like surprise, but mostly disappointment to know that like you're this close.
Right. You're talking about the one after Ahsoka Sith Eyes shot, right?
Yes, okay, yeah, exactly. Like that moment where he's looking back at her and realizing like, we've gone through this whole thing and you're still on the edge.
Right.
And like, you're still this close to doing the same thing that I did. And realistic, because like for Anakin, like really, what happens if she chops his head off? Absolutely nothing.
He's a
like
fucking ghost.
He disapparates and he comes
Surprise,
back.
I'm back.
Yeah, it's like,
no, wait, Nick, what if they cut off his head and like in the movies it just like grew back up like out of the hole, like ooh, like a magician's trick.
Like, exactly. Like he's in no danger, and he knows he's in no danger. But the danger to him was, if she doesn't understand what I'm trying to teach her in this moment, this could go really bad.
She's made the same mistakes as me. Yeah. But now I'm back to the shot of her, and I really contend that her eyes dipped. They went a little Sith orange yellow.
The easiest way to tell is like the dark ring around the outside has like become bigger and started to take up more of the iris. And like, it's hard to definitively say for sure because there's red light reflecting into her face, but like the eyes do look
I'll tell you what, man,
yellow.
Here at SWTS, we have strong opinions, so I'm going with those were fucking Sith eyes.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to be wishy-washy like some of these other speculators out there. But I like what you said there, where there was almost a look of disappointment when she crossed over. But just like her son, anyone else, like the other thing, I mean, this is a direct parallel of Luke and Vader on the Death Star, by the way. Anyone else pick that up? I mean, it's literally the same fucking thing. I mean, it goes back to that Twitter thing I want you to watch from Dave, where, you know, Ahsoka, just like Luke, refused to face the guy. Like, I don't want to do it. I know it's my destiny, but I don't want to do it. Same thing here, but eventually he coaxes them into facing him, and by the end, they learn the lesson. But just like Luke, when he's sitting there, whack, 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 cuts his dad's arm off. I mean, how do you think he was able to do that when he's getting tossed around the whole time? He channeled, and Ahsoka did the same thing. But that goes to show you that Vader, I don't know if he was doing it purposefully in Return of the Jedi, but he does know how to push the right buttons when a lesson needs to be taught.
He is a master at getting somebody to the edge.
How he got Luke fired up is when he sniffed out the Leia secret.
Sister.
So
but yeah, I mean, it was master.
And then really just to kind of to finish the parallel of that scene, what does she do, Nick? She says, "Nope, I choose to live," and tosses the Skywalker saber aside, just like Luke did. Beautiful shit there. That's why Dave Filoni's the man, always has been. Guess what? He's been working on Star Wars since Disney bought it. Everyone just needs to get used to that, okay? He is Star Wars. He is the CCD, right? Chief Creative something, whoever the fuck they call him, CCO. There's too many people in the C-suite these days. That's all I know.
Chief Creative
Officer. My wife's like, oh yeah, we got like 2 HR, C-suite. I'm like, what? How does HR even have a chief of anything? Isn't what the COO was supposed to do? Chief Operating Officer, and then HR people report to them? No? We got a chief for every fucking department now?
Got it all.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, just, dude, and when he glosses back over, when he realizes, like, okay, she did it, and he just kind of reflects, closes his eyes, and boop, he's back to Anakin, and is like, hey, I think you're going to fucking be all right, and then disappears. So, just beautiful shit. The transition again back to her being almost dead, also fantastic. And people like, well, yeah, she should be. Blah, blah, blah. Remember, we don't know how time moves in the world between worlds. All right, it's not like even when they were searching for her, it went from day to night. I mean, they were in fucking spaceships. It could have been all of 20, 30 minutes in real time them looking for Ahsoka. All right, so she was damn near dead, just like we told you. That was not a vision. We told you why. You just got to believe us. We're right. You're wrong. Thank you. Okay. What else? I got some more shots in here. A bunch of bullshit. I think that's it. No. I got
the rest of the episode.
I got a few more things here.
White Ahsoka.
Ahsoka the White. Obviously, I think the costume looked good, even though I kind of knew what we were getting into. That is going to make for a fantastic hot toy. Let's get on it. Hot toys, because I've got my 1/6 scale maroon coming this week. I have my Siege of Mandalore Ahsoka, and I have my Ahsoka the Gray. So we got to get the white. Oh, I know. How fucking creepy was it to see her without her headdress on?
I must say, just like without that little that circlet or headdress or whatever it was, like you never really get to see the top of Ahsoka's forehead until now. So that wasn't.
Oh, here's a look. This is what I like, and why I keep talking with Connor, because he's now into this shit, Nick. So he gets to see all the weirdness. He's apparently over there. Someone told him that after she tossed the Skywalker saber, it falls out of the WBW, and that's how Maz finds it.
I don't think that's how that happens.
Someone please fucking punch me in the face.
I just don't think, like, a lot of people don't know what the world between worlds is, and it's still like truly kind of unclear even to the people who know what the world between worlds is, like what exactly it is. Well,
we know you at least need a portal to go from the real world if you want to stay alive. So
and then also we also know that there's already a Skywalker saber in the universe, in the galaxy. So now is there two? No, that's not what happened. Come on.
Oh, I love Star Wars fans. I really enjoyed. I think the scene with the Purgill was perfect. It reflected what we know that Force users can do, very similar to what we saw Ezra getting down with in the finale of Rebels. It really just, I loved all the visuals of them leaving with the purgils, kind of weaving in the natural side, the nature side of Star Wars, the dumbass New Republic. Okay, let's before we get into the pregame for 6, let's work through some of my ha's, starting with these fucking idiots, the New Republic. Okay, hear me out here. Did anyone else go, how fucking moronic is the New Republic that they would not send Hera just like, a ship or two to go investigate this. Yet when they find out that she lied to them, they send 3 capital ships to go find her.
Yeah. What an overreaction. Like,
if you can't tell that these people are the biggest fucking bozos in the galaxy at this point in time, which I guess shouldn't surprise me coming from Star Wars fans, but hello, how incompetent. Mon Mothma is going from one of my favorite characters to one of my most hated. She's no better than fucking Palpatine as a bureaucrat now. She's a complete dopey idiot. Like, no, you can't have a small force to go essentially stop the coming of Thrawn. But, when we figure out that you lied to mommy and daddy, we're going to send a fucking fleet.
Yeah, it's just, it goes to show you how unsure she is how to lead in peacetime. And like the people that she put trust in for years and years during the rebellion now mean nothing to her next to a couple of fucking bureaucrats. She's like,
Hera,
do
you have any proof? Hera, it's like, Mom Mothma, you remember what it took? You fucking shithead. Hanging out in your white robes. You're probably in Palpatine's fucking temple at this point in time. Reclaimed it from the Jedi. Hanging out. Drinking spatchka. What the fuck? I mean, we can't commit that many resources, Hera. But if you lie to us, we're going to send half our fucking fleet.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Mothma is definitely showing herself to be a weak leader. Like, that's unquestionable now. And it's like, it's easier to be, as fucked up as it sounds, like, it's easier to be a leader in wartime because there is a clear goal in front of you. And there's only one thing that you really are trying to do. You're trying to win the war. You're trying to, like when she was the leader of the rebellion, it was root out the imperial rot in the galaxy by any means necessary. And now that it's peacetime, it is a lot more unclear as to what you're supposed to do as a leader. Like, what is she like? Her in her stance has always been like, be as unmilitarized as possible, so something that so we don't risk whatever in her mind. But it's really showing now that she is not fit to be the leader of the New Republic, and that she will ultimately lead to its as much disgusting. As it was like a swift downfall.
Bro, to me, especially after what we saw in Andor, it's like a form of character assassination. Like she is just so not Mon anymore. It's sickening to be controlled by the bureaucracy that quick.
Yeah, it almost seems like we just don't have a lot of like Mon Mothma stuff like in the time of the the rebellion to really like see what she was doing behind the scenes. But I mean, like, I guess like one thing that you could kind of point to is even in Andor though, like she was hesitant to back the forces going to Scarif. Like these people were telling her like, look, Scarif base, there are plans for the death. Like, we can go there and we can fucking make this happen. And even in that moment, she refused. Yeah. She was like, no, we're not going to do it. Like,
you know what it is, Nick? Like, I think it's the red hair, and she's very good looking. So I've been like men can get sometimes. I've been shrouded in her beauty. Duped.
Yeah, it's even then, like the big difference is during the rebellion, she had good people around her. Like she had, General Organa Senator Organa, not General Organa.
She's ultimately going to fucking dispel from the Senate. That's exactly, coming up next. Oh, hey.
Yeah, like
we got 4 of our own people, went on a rogue mission. Let's send half our military. Oh, one of the heroes of the fucking rebellion. She's stupid. Let's kick her out of government. It's like, what the fuck? I mean, you have to believe, Nick, that they almost are going to have to lean hard into the fact that because the New Republic accepted all these old Imperials, that's the reason it was so fucking soft and broken. Because from day one, it was undermined from within.
Yeah. It's just like, this is truly proving to me now that like, she was only as good of a leader as the ones around her. Like General Maydean, you had Senator Organa, you had, the generals and the field generals and all of the commanders of the rebellion that were there advising her. And she's just like, she had a good core around her. Now the people around her fucking
They're the same
suck.
shitheads that sucked in the Galactic Senate. Same shitheads. Just as Hera said, the motherfuckers that sat around and waited to see which side won. That is who Mon Mothma is surrounded by now. Those are her peers.
Yeah.
Shitheads, not the warriors that she sent to death. Yeah. Fuck. It drives. I'm like, shit. I'm going to boycott Andor season 2 now. Fuck Mon Mothma. Like, what the hell?
It's just like, but it does, like,
I know it makes sense. It makes sense.
It makes sense. And it's like, all of your heroic characters can't be like, oh yeah, they're the best. I know. There has to be some bad leadership, because if there wasn't bad leadership, the Star Wars galaxy wouldn't be in constant states of war.
This is just the shortcoming of my maleness, if you will. Like I said, it's the red hair, and Genevieve's a looker. So I can't separate that from fiction. So like, I like her. She's pretty. So her character's good. But yeah, the more you drill into it, like, no, Mothma is kind of a shit bag, especially what we're getting now. All right. I don't want to keep pounding on her. I feel bad, but fuck. When I saw those ships show up, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
These people are idiots.
There are bad guys that are there are bad guys literally trying to destroy the only semblance of peace that we have in this galaxy right now. We're not going to do anything about that, but you didn't listen to me. So now I'm going to send
literally going to send all the resources we told you we couldn't to find 4 of you and arrest you. I mean, just ridiculous. I really wish Hera just let the fucking whales run the entire fleet over. I got even angrier at the fleet when I'm like, get the fuck out of the way. Like, this is nature, motherfuckers. This is like geese crossing the street. Get the fuck out of the way.
Like, just move. I know you've probably never seen purrgils, but when you see whales flying through the sky, it's probably best that you just not be in the way.
And you know these things, like the whales could fuck those ships up, especially the granddaddy that Ahsoka slid herself into. God damn, I'm glad I remembered that. That just got me so fucking angry. I'm like, what is wrong with Mon Mothma? And like, how stupid could you be? You literally you put your foot in your mouth. No, you can't have resources, but shame on you for breaking what mommy and daddy said. Now we're gonna send all our resources just to shame you. Like, what the fuck? Okay, one last thing before we start pre-gaming here, and I got the whales up. I'll lay a little groundwork for you, Nick. But remember in season 3, Mando and Grogu, they're in a hyperspace route, and he senses something and looks out the window and sees some whales flying.
Yeah, so this is the moment that
any chance that that's the whale with Ahsoka in the mouth, and that's how Grogu's kind of peaked.
It could definitely be,
because we've heard at least I believe Natasha Liu Bordizzo did say that Ahsoka's supposed to take place concurrently with season 3 of Mando. So just, I don't know. I mean, I could be grasping at straws here, but you would think Grogu knows Ahsoka. Force connections are a thing. When we first saw it, we were just like, oh yeah, he can, just like other Force users, he can feel the whales. But I don't know. I would like to think that the reason in particular he was drawn there is because she was riding her way out in the mouth of the big boy on the path to Peridia.
Yeah, I mean, you got to figure that when that happened, there was like such a reverberation in the Force that, like, I mean, probably, whatever Force users are out there, if you're attuned enough to the living force, as Qui-Gon would say, you probably felt something.
Well,
so
speaking of feeling stuff, I'm glad you brought that up. But what if? Not even what if. Let's just kind of have fun with this a little bit. What do you think Luke Skywalker felt during his father and Ahsoka's World Between Worlds meeting? Do you think he was aware of that?
I think so. So. I mean, I don't know how much further they're going to involve, and like this is, we've talked about this a lot on this podcast. It's like, now that you've opened the Luke Skywalker Pandora's box, like it's really hard to leave him, like to shove him back in it, especially in circumstances like this, especially in like what is to come in this like time in the galaxy. He definitely felt something.
You would think. I mean, his father makes his presence known maybe for the first time since the Battle of Endor celebration. Just in the Force by meeting Ahsoka. And then when Ahsoka comes out as the White, reborn, I would assume that he's like, holy shit, I feel Ahsoka again, but it's different. Kind of like how Ahsoka felt Anakin again in Rebels, but it was different in a bad way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because we've only, like, at this point, we can say 100% Luke has only known the broken Ahsoka. The one that did not want to train Grogu, right?
Yeah. So maybe, I mean, and look, like we're like sitting here and we're trying to figure out, like, there's a lot of like journeys that need to come to an end. Ahsoka's is one of them. Like, how does this happen? Like, does Ahsoka ultimately, after all of this happens, like, does she reapproach Luke and say, like, I think we can work something out with me helping you with training again, and then she ultimately falls at the hand of Kylo, and everything that goes on, stuff like that.
I obviously, and I have a picture of her in the White, kind of talking to Jason. You could even feel there that, like, she's different. She's now open to the Force in full again, and reaching her full potential. She's not scared of becoming bad Ahsoka anymore. So hell, I mean, even if the little green guy was kicking around again, she'd be like, hey, motherfucker, you want to train now? I'm good. I got my shit squared away. I'm good. We can train. But here's what I think's going to happen, sadly. I don't think Ahsoka makes it out of the Mandoverse. I think her sacrifice is going to be huge. It's going to be no different than Anakin's. It's going to be a major, major fucking sacrifice. One that has to happen. It's the only way to happen, just like what Ezra did. So we're going to get the parallels and all that stuff from there. But I sadly think she does not make it out of the Mandoverse, and Luke truly is on his own to restart, build, and train.
Yeah,
but I just wonder, like, did Luke sitting there on his planet where the temple's being built by his slave labor robots? Did he? He had to have felt that. He had to feel her crossing in, her dad greeting her, possibly even the lesson. I mean, if Jason fucking Syndulla, untrained, just has the juice in his system, is feeling it and hearing it, you would think soon to be, I guess we can call him Jedi Master at this point in time. No one can tell him no, right? He's the only fucking guy. So
yeah, he's like, who's gonna?
Hey, I was fucking Jedi Master right there when I beat my dad, motherfuckers. Even though I said I was a Jedi Knight, I'm gonna go ahead and correct that. I'm Jedi Master, something my dad never achieved, right?
Yeah.
And no, that is not Jedi Master Anakin we saw. Remember, he's never granted the rank.
He was never a master. Still never a master of
Luke
death.
just going, oh, Daddy, why don't you come and talk to me?
That's what I wonder. And
maybe he's pissed. Maybe he's like, fuck, man. Why? She always gets Dad's time.
But I also wonder if Anakin has tried to reach out to Luke, or I would almost think that Anakin would be too afraid to reach out to Luke.
No, I agree. I think he gave him the old salute in Return of the Jedi, like, hey, I'm here, buddy, but fuck you. Like, I still got some shit to work through. I'll see you in a few decades.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, listen, now that we got the resolution with Ahsoka and Anakin, I know Luke technically got his in the real world. I would pay to see a conversation between, post ROTJ Luke and his dad. I mean, come on.
Yeah, 100%.
That would be
100%.
as great
as
this was because, let's be real. Anakin and Ahsoka had a way more developed relationship than Luke and Anakin ever will. But it would still be very special just to hear what the father would say to the son after all the shit they've been through together as foes and then as allies.
Yeah, and I mean, there's just so much wisdom for Anakin to impart onto Luke. There's so much knowledge of not only training, but just knowledge of how to handle yourself in moments of panic, in moments of fear that he could impart onto Luke. And I don't know, it just feels like it's a relationship that never really existed. Of course. There was never a relationship between Anakin and Luke outside of, there was never a relationship with Anakin and Luke. There was a relationship between Vader and Luke. So Anakin had spoke maybe, what was it, 15, 20 words to
if
Luke
that, it was essentially
deathbed.
like him dying, be like, hey, I just want to see you with my own eyes.
Yeah.
You were
tell
right.
Your sister
you were
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the established relationship between Anakin Skywalker and Luke Skywalker is almost nothing. But I would have to imagine that as Anakin, that is what you want most in your death, is to go back and be able to establish a relationship with your son. And also knowing that your son is essentially walking the same or a similar path that you did. Not an even harder path than you did. He is trying to re-establish the Jedi Order.
Trained at 18, didn't even know he had the Force until he was damn near an adult.
Yeah, I would feel, if I was Anakin and at that time, I would want nothing more than to reach out to my son and just impart wisdom on him. But it has to be a very daunting.
Well, I mean, you're right, because in the end, who provided the wisdom to who? The son to the father. Luke is the reason Anakin was able to return. It had nothing to do with what was going on in his fucking wired, twisted brain. It was Luke keep saying, listen, motherfucker, knock, knock, knock. I know you're in there, Anakin. I know you're fucking there, even though you keep saying that Vader killed him. I know you're there. Come out. I'm your goddamn son. I love you. See, that's the thing about Luke Skywalker. He got the lesson Anakin was trying to give to Ahsoka from the get-go. I mean, after one little duel and talking to Yoda, he's like, fuck, I don't want to face him because I love this man. Even though he's Darth Vader, I love him. He's my fucking dad I never knew, and he had that love for him, and it was that love that enabled Anakin to fucking pop through the Vader mask and redeem himself.
Yeah, and it's for Luke, Luke has to feel so conflicted about the possibility as well, because it's do you the only way that I've known this man is through pain and suffering,
trying to kill me, then chopping my hand off.
Yeah. And then just knowing what, beyond that, just knowing what he's capable of. He's capable of literally bringing a galaxy to its knees. I mean, obviously under the thumb of Palpatine, but you also have to just in your head is this is my father that I've never gotten to know, and I may never get to know. So it's I wonder if Anakin has tried to reach out and Luke almost put the brakes on it, because it's a two-way relationship. I have to imagine that the person that's on the receiving end of the conversation has to be open to it as well, because he's Luke is in as much control of who reaches out to him through the Force as Anakin is, because even in ESB, when Vader is sitting there and he's reaching out to him through the Force, telling him to come to the dark side, we can rule the galaxy, as all this stuff. Luke is literally putting his energy into blocking that connection.
He's no, fuck you.
and I wonder if Luke is still hesitant to let that happen. And I wonder if he's just like, if Anakin has like tried and Luke has rebuffed him.
I think it's back to your initial guess, and it's Anakin is hesitant because of just the drama that he caused for all those years.
What's the first thing you say to your son that you tried to murder multiple times? Like, and like to who is now, like, if you really want to look at the paragon of the light side of the Force, for all of you out there who's looking for a Mortis arc thing, like, it would be Luke Skywalker that fits in on the light side of it, like, almost unquestionably. But like what? How do you approach that conversation? What do you say? What do you like? What is your end goal? Because it can't be one conversation that fixes the whole relationship.
Nick, this is another series. You're pitching right here.
Yeah,
like it could just be, Conversations with My Dad, episode 1, and it's just fucking Anakin and Luke hanging out, watching the temple be built with R2-D2. Let's go. I mean, Hayden is clearly capable of bringing this character back and making him feel more authentic than ever before. It's the time is right. You either bring this back and we get our fucking Vader perspective show with crispy Hayden, or we get him into the Mandoverse, and like Nick's saying, we're going to start to get those interactions with Son, maybe more with Ahsoka. I mean, why not? Why not have Hayden stick around even in this timeline? Fuck it.
I mean, we were already like robbed of the a moment between father and son in the sequel trilogy, and it's like there's a lot of issues with the sequel trilogy, but like the fact that Anakin Skywalker speaks to Rey on the ground in Exegol as the Ascend the Eternal Emperor is building his strength, and didn't say anything to his son, like when he's on.
Hey Luke, get off the fucking island, bro. Don't worry, we all got depressed and sad. Yoda did it too. It's okay.
Yeah, it's like Anakin reaches out to this girl that he's never met before, and like obviously
Nick, it was a dyad, dude, dyad.
But like. Yeah, I mean, the Yoda scene was fine, but like, come on, like there needs to be and maybe I almost think that it's like more Luke, the writers are scared.
You're right. Luke saved Vader. Why couldn't Anakin come back and kind of, give his son a little motivation too? Like, hey, dude, you come on. And listen, I'm not someone that, like, what Luke did makes complete sense to me. To me, he always was a little whiny motherfucker, and he did exactly what Obi-Wan and Yoda did when they thought they broke the galaxy. They fucking quit. Yoda, like, you gotta go read the Yoda comic. He's literally sitting on Dagobah feeling sorry for himself because he fucking blew it. And that's why he's there. He's like, I blew it. I don't deserve to play anymore. So that never really concerned me. It was how Luke treated Rey. Those reactions, how he responded to Chewie. I mean, that was not Luke. But the fact that he essentially banished himself, that's what his masters did when they fucked up. Made complete sense. Anyways, we're not going to relitigate the fucking sequel trilogy. Mm-hmm. We all know what happened there.
I will say this. I wouldn't want to be the writer that has to write the first interaction between Luke and his father. I mean, that's a lot of pressure.
Dave Filoni only. Like he's the only person that gets to touch that. Just like how he was kind of left to handle this, both the writing and the directing.
I would almost give it to George and be like, "You write it. I'll let somebody else direct."
Yeah, sure. I'd take either or, because at this point, Dave truly is the maker part two. I mean, it's not even close. All right, holy shit, time is flying here. We'll kind of speed some things up. We can get through the other stories real quick because they're fucking stupid. They're about the movies, so it's a bunch of bullshit. But real quick, let's pregame a bit, even though we've already been doing that. But it's time to lay down some things to look for and then some predictions. So some things to look for, especially when it comes to Anakin Skywalker, and will we see him again in Ahsoka? All right, here's your answer from my speculative mind that is usually not wrong and is almost batting 1,000 this year with Ahsoka. I think we most definitely get him in the finale in a traditional Force Ghost appearance or the Obi-Wan to Luke Force walkie-talkie setup. Okay?
Yeah.
I think now that the connection's been reestablished, Ahsoka having him in her ear just like Luke had Obi-Wan throughout the OT, that makes complete sense. It's going to happen. More than likely, she's going to need him, and he's going to give her that push just like Obi-Wan did for Luke in the Battle of Yavin. I also believe, based on some dialogue from the trailer, that we're going to at least see Hayden again, potentially in, I don't know, a fucking recording or something. Because unless they just purposely lifted random audio from Clone Wars to have Hayden speak to use in the trailer, there's no reason for him to be talking about battle droids in Ahsoka unless it's a past recording. So I could see it where she's almost, she just had this fucking amazing interaction with her master. She realizes they're connected again. She's gotten past her beef. I could see her almost, for the first time in, over 20 years, allowing herself to look fondly upon him again. And maybe, looking at a memory, a hollow recording from their time in the Clone Wars. So I really think we are going to get two more scenes of Hayden in Ahsoka. The one could just be a disembodied voice, but the other, I just feel like if we're going to take that trailer dialogue and it's actually real, I feel like it's going to be her reminiscing over a recording.
Yeah, no, I mean, that could definitely fit in. And I do hope that we get a little bit of walkie-talkie stuff, because I do think that in small bursts, that's really impactful.
Oh, dude, I mean, even to this day, I could recite A New Hope, but in the fucking trench, when he's struggling, he doesn't know, should I use the rangefinder? Should I? And Obi-Wan's like, shut the fuck up, stupid.
Use the Force.
Yeah, exactly. I love that shit. I love the disembodied Force Ghost setup. So I'm with you. I want that.
Yeah, 100%.
And to reply to Luke Callahan here, the next episode's going to release in about 2 hours. Okay, so 9 p East, 6 p Pacific. 8 p Central. Right?
Yeah.
8 p Central.
Yep. 8 Central, 7
Mountain. There
Mountain.
You go. We got all the American timelines. If you're not here, figure it out. Use Google. All right. So there's my kind of thoughts on if we see Hayden again as Anakin. 100% in the end as hey, you can do this. And I do think some form of reminiscing on the part of Ahsoka. So Nick, since I just took up some time, how about you lay down some predictions for what we're going to see tonight? Because this is the first time we really have nothing to work off of. The only footage we have left from the trailer is Thrawn walking onto the bridge of the Eye, and then a shot of us looking at him, and you can kind of see who I believe is going to be Enoch behind him.
Yeah, I think that, one, kind of going back to what you had said previously, I think that this episode is going to take place almost entirely in the new galaxy. I'll put it that way, because there's really no reason for us to spend any time in the current Star Wars galaxy, for lack of a better term, because the only people that's left there are kind of the leftovers. You got Hera and Jason and Hu Yang, and then the remnants of the New Republic that were around SITH when the whales jumped away, and really they're of no consequence. What are they going to talk about? They're going to be oh yeah, they jumped off. I don't know where they're going. That's essentially all that they would have to say about it. So I think that we're going to spend probably 80 to 90% of this episode in the new galaxy. I think, or in hyperspace getting to the new galaxy. I think that we're also going to get I think that the end of this episode may be when we see Thrawn kind of walk aboard the Eye of Sion, because I assume that they're not going to be able to jump right to him. They're going to have to do a little bit of okay, we're in the area, we got to kind of get to you. And I think that this is where we may get our first introduction to some Night Sister magic type of stuff. All right. Really getting a little bit more in depth into what Thrawn has been working on. What Morgan Elsbeth has been working on for Thrawn and what his forces kind of look like. And I don't think that we come back to the regular galaxy before this episode ends. So that's my thoughts there. Is like we're going to spend almost all the episode in the new galaxy finding Thrawn. I think we're going to spend a lot of time with the bad guys because the entire episode of episode 5 was with the good guys. So I think that we're going to spend a lot of time with like Baylan, Shin, Sabine, Morgan, potentially Thrawn if he gets in it a little bit earlier, and then really building an understanding of what Thrawn and Morgan are trying to bring back into our regular Star Wars galaxy.
Yeah, I mean this is tough. So I mean I hate to be wrong, but I'm really gonna have to like channel the Force for this because there's nothing to go on outside of, like I said, a little bit of dialogue left and Thrawn. But I am with Nick. I do think by the end of this episode we see the blue guy. I really don't think they're saving that scene for the end. I think the end it'll be very clear that the blue guy is probably going to win a victory, and we'll leave it at that. Like it's just going to be an Empire Strikes. We're going to know the good guys ultimately failed in their mission. Not completely, but they didn't stop the bad guy. So I don't think they're saving Thrawn for the very end like everyone thinks. I'm with you there. I'm struggling with how they're going to open the episode because, like, in my mind, if I was doing it, I'd almost get tricky as fuck and go right into Thrawn and Ezra's perspective, just out of the blue. Like, here we go. You're going to see exactly what they've been up to kind of lay some narrative groundwork for that galaxy. And then we check in with our bad guy friends and, everything gets linked up. But I don't think they're going to do that. I could see them opening shot going right to the Eye of Sion, either in hyperspace still, and we get a check-in with all those characters, Sabine and the bad guys, or coming right out. And like Nick said, it's not like, oh, hey, there you are, Thrawn. You're right where you said you were. It is going to be more of like, all right, now we're here. How do we get in touch? What do we have to look out for? Where do we really need to go? Is he coming to us? Do we have to go to him? So on and so forth. So like you said, trying to set up a lot of the little plot threads for this galaxy. I could see a brief check-in on Ahsoka en route, but you don't really need to. She's literally in a whale's mouth at this point in time. She could show up at the end of the episode. It wouldn't matter. I'm also with you. I don't think there's any reason to go back to the New Republic at this point in time, but I do feel like just because Hera's been in every episode, she is kind of a main, that they might check in just to have her
get the update on like how they're chewing her out.
Yeah, is she really in trouble, or do they now understand that it was okay to do that? But it's going to be so heavy on the bad guys, and it should be. I mean, you can't completely close the door on one of your main narrative threads in a series for an entire week and then just gloss over that and like, oh yeah, hey, we're right back to the good guys. The good guys, they've kind of shot their shot. Like we're essentially in the second chapter of the series, and in my mind, it's all going to be in the new galaxy, outside of maybe a random check-in here or there with Hera, just to see what the fuck's going on. So for this episode, opening scene, Eye of Sion, I'm going with.
Yeah, that makes the most sense to me. I think that like kind of what you said, starting with it like popping out of hyperspace and then being in the galaxy. And then like for me personally, I want them to spend time here because this is the first time that we're ever seeing a completely new space. I really want some.
That's why I said it would be great if they just started right from Thrawn's perspective in Ezra, like catch us up right away from their end, so we do get to know this galaxy a bit from their eyes and how they've been living in it for over a decade. And then, okay, let's get back to our bad guys and their story to find him. I don't think they're gonna do that though. I don't. I think they're gonna stick. Our point of view is mostly going to be through the Eye of Sion crew is what I'm going to call them.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the one that people have the most intrigue about right now too, is because, like you said, I mean, Ahsoka is in a whale's mouth by herself, and Hera's still back, and the only people that are together that actually have a plan once they get to this new galaxy are the people on
and
the
we have to
Sion.
we have to see. You're right. You are right. Plus, they got a jump start, so we have to see what they were doing while Ahsoka was choosing to live or die. Is what I'm saying. I want to see some of that, but I would not be mad if we get a big surprise tomorrow and literally it opens with Ezra in one of his forms that I teased. I do like. Knowing what I know about the character, I don't feel like they can sit on him for too long. We're down to 3 episodes. Yeah. So I'm fuck it. We're going to get our first look at the dude, Ezra and the blue guy in episode 6. Fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, as we were saying too, like, it's hard to understand how Ezra, I mean, again, like, this is with no understanding of what this new galaxy is like or where they are, like, but it's hard for us with no context to figure out like how Thrawn and Ezra aren't together. Cause like they went there together.
Right.
They were on the same vessel. They were in the grips of these, Pregame whales. Like once they're there, like what happens? Do they get like, how would they even get separated?
I'll say this, knowing what I know based on what I've seen, let's just say Ezra seemingly becomes a master of disguise. Like he knows how to fit in where he maybe shouldn't fit in. How's that?
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense because he's going to have to.
Yeah, I mean, unless what I saw was just pure concept, like there's going to be one form of Ezra where you're going to be like, yeah, that's fucking cool. And it makes complete sense. So yeah, I'm saying it. Fuck it. We're gonna get first crack at Ezra, first crack at Thrawn. Balk's gonna be on the bad guys, learning more of what they're into, both Morgan's angle and remember, Baylan has his own angle. Baylan gives 2 flying fucks about Thrawn. Literally could give 2 shits. Like, he don't care if Thrawn lives or dies, if Thrawn commits genocide in the known galaxy. As he said, he is working on behalf of the greater good. He's going after this power unlike a Force user has ever seen. So I think we get that sprinkled on because time is running out. You can't start setting up brand new threads. You got to start rounding, second, third, en route to home at this point. So they got to start filling in some of the gaps with some of the teases they've given us in episodes 1 through 5.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the Baylan stuff is going to be interesting. The Morgan and Thrawn stuff is obviously going to be kind of like the center point.
Think you get any Sabine Shin dynamics, like their hatred for each other or her hatred for Sabine?
I think that there's definitely like some snide comments made by Shin. Yeah, but I also think like what I think we may get from this too is like a little bit more Baylan and Sabine, because obviously Sabine is going to feel like, man, I really fucked up. Like she's already feels like that. Like, man, I really fucked up. But what I want to see is like, is Baylan just going to let her kind of like, yeah, you fucked up? Or is he really going to try to make her see what he sees? Like, is he going to like take time?
I'm with you. He seems committed to whatever cause, and I think he does want to show people, no, I'm right. I mean, he tried to tell her like, we shouldn't be doing this. Just listen to me.
Yeah. So like, I really want to see that dynamic kind of build a little bit more, because I don't think that he was ever messing with her. Like, I don't think that he was just saying like all this shit to try to like trick her and be like, ha ha ha, bad guy move. Now you're stuck.
Please don't
like,
do that to him, because as we said, he's he's the one of the best. He's real deal. He's not just blah ha ha.
Yeah, and like I really do think that like when they get there and he's like, yeah, well, you go, like, just let them do what they're gonna do. Like, let me show you what the real secret and like what the real value of being here for us is. Like, I want you to truly understand what I was trying to tell you when we were on CETOS. And the best way for me to do that is to show you.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
let me show you.
He's clearly a narcissist, so that's exactly what a narcissist would do. Like, listen, no, I'm right, and let me prove it to you. I mean, that's what I do every fucking Tuesday on this show. Hi, I'm Matt. I'm a Star Wars narcissist. I think I'm right. My opinions are the best, and everyone should listen to me, and everyone else should die. Thank you. Moving on.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. There's the pregame. We laid it down. Bold predictions, but at this point, it's hard to make educated ones based on existing material. So this is where you really got to start diving deep and using some brains. It's not, you didn't hear any wild shit from us. It's all stuff that is potential. But don't be prepared for bad guy heavy, if anything else. I'll take that win if that's all I get. It's the little things in life, people.
Bad guys are cool.
Yeah, with
Spend more
Balin,
time with bad guys.
we got a 40-minute episode learning more about Balin's skull. Oh no, sweet. All right, Nick, we're gonna blow through these other two real quick because in the end, they're fucking stupid. We've been talking about them for at least 3 years now. Everything's up in the air, especially with the Hollywood strike, so it's really not worth spending too much hot air on. But as of last week, there's another update on the Lando movie, and according to Donald Glover's brother, it's not a show, it's now a movie for Disney Plus. And it's like, okay, sure, whatever you say, we'll believe you when we see a trailer. And that's literally how I am at this point in time with movie news. It just, it almost makes me angry. It definitely frustrates me. It makes me sad thinking about that we've now pissed away, it'll be almost 5 years once we hit Star Wars movie time in 2024 that we have not had a Star Wars fucking film. So have at it, Nick. Do you have any comments on Lando becoming a movie now?
I mean, I always wanted to see Lando as a movie. I think it works really well as a movie. And I think pretty much my read on this is Glover came in, kind of saw what was outlined as the TV show that Justin Simeon was working on, and then was like, I don't necessarily like this direction. And I also think that he just wants to make a movie. He's already made a TV show. He's already won Emmys. He's like, I want to do movie stuff. And I know that Star Wars
it's
is
less
best
work,
in
honestly,
theaters.
than these damn TV shows.
It is. It's way less work. Yeah, I mean, it's way less work. It's way more prestige too, because think about it from Donald Glover's side. Glover comes out, he makes his Lando movie, it goes to theaters and it makes $1 billion. What the fuck do you think he's like king of the world, bitch? Yeah. I've now conquered TV screens, multiple Emmys. I've been a platinum recording artist, and I've directed and wrote a movie that made $1 billion. What can you say about the man?
He's not bad. I mean, he's got a little bit of artistic talent in his body, a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't blame him, because I also think that the prestige move is movie.
It always used to be, man. I mean, there was a point in time not too long ago. If you used to be a big movie actor, then you started doing TV work, that was a signal that your career was over. Now these days, the jobs are in TV, long form shows.
Oh yeah, exactly. And then also, you guarantee yourself work for a longer period of time too. You're like, okay, I'm on a TV show, so I don't have to worry about 3 months of work and then I'm fucking done.
Right.
You get to work a little bit longer. You get more stuff on film. You build your reel. You get to put yourself out there.
Bro, on TV, you go in the syndication. You get paid the rest of your life.
Dude, you want to hear something crazy? So this is a slight tangent. I saw an article that said Jerry Seinfeld was offered $100 million to make season 10 of Seinfeld, and he was like, no, I don't think so. I think it was a good time to end the show. But the thing is he makes so much money off of the syndication of that show, because it's his name in the title, and he was a creator and writer of it, that he didn't need the $100 million. Truly, he didn't need $100 million to make one. No, I mean,
that's why you gotta respect the guy. He's not a whore for the cash. He believes in the art that he put forth. That's it. You get one run of Seinfeld. That's the best. Fuck it. I mean, look at all the shows doing cash grabs. I mean, you could argue Star Wars is doing cash grabs. based on nostalgia. I mean, let's be real. We just had a big nostalgia circle jerk. All right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, like all of episode 5 was like
all existing content. It wasn't even new Star Wars. It was just, the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, I mean, you look at the media landscape these days, new IP is like a thing of the past. It's all, hey, what can we capitalize on and cash in on franchise, or all these fucking, Gen Xers being nostalgic? What can we give them from the 80s that they'll buy and go watch again? It's like, shit. And then with the Hollywood strike going on, may go into the next year, we are all fucked. We're all going to be watching this time next year? Reality TV and the fucking vomit content on social media, because that's all that's going to exist.
Yeah, I know that Taylor and I are planning to start watching the original Frasier, because we've never seen it. So
sure,
we're gonna pick up Frasier.
I did a rewatch of that a few years ago when it was on Netflix. Yeah, I mean, this is where we're at. It's going to be reruns and stupid shit until these rich motherfuckers decide to open up the pocketbook.
But what say you about the Lando movie? Would you prefer a movie or a show?
Fuck. I mean, for the dorky side of me, I'm always going to prefer long form stuff that we can dig into, get really nuanced, and you can explore a bit more lore. But for this character and really the stories they could tell, I do think a movie works way better. I enjoy Lando. He's getting much more fleshed out in the Star Wars 2020 run that's going on right now, and quite frankly is fucking terrible. It's on this dark droids thing. So the Vader comic blows, the Star Wars comic blows. It is the most, like, I put out a video last week, Nick said, Darth Vader number 38 somehow makes him boring. And that is no fucking joke. Like, they've managed to make Darth Vader boring. Okay. So anyways, tangent. But yeah, I think Lando is better suited for a movie, but I do not think this is ever going to be a reality.
Yeah, it's like at this point, you're really testing Donald Glover's cachet. Like it really is like, is Disney or Lucasfilm going to say to one of the most successful artists of multiple forms over the past 5 to 7 years, like, maybe we don't let you make the movie that you want to make?
I mean, I could see at this point with time delays and whatnot, and if the strike ever gets resolved, all these creatives, it's going to be like popping their cherry again. They're going to be going nuts. Like, hey, let's go. I had this project. I'm going here. Oop, can't work for you, Kathleen. Oop, can't work for you, Kat. So I could see him pushing back too. Like, nah, fuck it. I'm over it. It took too long. I'm going to do this because, he likes to reinvent himself. He likes to focus on a particular form of entertainment, depending on the phase of the moon. So you never know. Yeah. Hey, look at that. Jason Yang coming in, work more or less. What up? What's up?
But yeah, I mean, like, I hope it becomes a movie. I think that if he took the route of like doing an indirect sequel to Solo and reincorporating Alden back in it, because I mean, ultimately you can tell stories without Han from Lando's perspective, but like, it's always a little bit better when Han and Lando are together. So, I would almost hope that he looks at it as kind of like an opportunity to, one, tell a story of his own about Lando, but also to really like incorporate Alden Ehrenreich's Han back into the fold and like reestablish some of that relationship between those two characters. But I mean, who knows?
Yeah. So, and really I'm going to keep the same tone with this next story coming from Bespin Bullet on Taika. So last week, Nick, it was another example of Star Wars fan media illiteracy where Taika was given an award to someone, and it was very clear that he was joking and being overly sarcastic. I mean, it's Taika Waititi. That's who he is. Like, if you ever see him in real life, he's essentially the same fucking crackpot character he writes himself into every project he makes. That's him. He's fucking goofy. Yeah. He's like, if you know me in real life, especially in text chains or just casual conversations, it's very hard for me to be serious. I am always looking for the angle to make a joke, make someone laugh, do something funny. That's just how I'm wired. He's the same way. So anyways, Nick, he was giving awards to someone. He's like, Lucasfilm's still waiting on me to write drafts. I'm never going to finish. And somehow to some people that meant he was fired or he's canceled. I'm like, I didn't read that. I didn't interpret that at all. And then now Bestman Bulletin's coming out a week later saying, hey, no, I've heard from this radio guy, this hot mic Jeff Snyder, that no, Taika has turned in multiple drafts, in fact, and he actually owes Lucasfilm one more, but hasn't been able to submit it because of something known as the strike. Right. So it's just like, listen, guys and girls, any Star Wars movie news at this point in time, just be like, okay, sure, whatever.
Like, use your brain in some instances and be like, does this make sense that a guy who's writing a movie has already written multiple drafts? Probably so. Like, do you think that he's been writing the movie and never sent anything in? Like, it's the most, like, clearly he has worked on it, but clearly there's a writer's strike happening right now, so he can't do anything with it. So, yeah, of course. He's been working on this thing for what, 2 years minimum? Like, right. So he's probably turned something in at some point for them to be able to, for at minimum, for Kathleen Kennedy to say, like, yeah, he's actually working on it. Like, so it's, yeah, of course, he's probably sent in some drafts.
In between people going cuckoo for Ahsoka, people are trying to get some juice. Like, oh yeah, canceled movie, confirmed sources. It's like, no, just
it's like, what source?
Listen to the fucking guy and what he says. He didn't say, oh, I'm done. It's just like, hey, one day I'll get a final draft completed, essentially. So, and that's where we are.
Like, I cannot do a final draft right now.
That's what I love about Bestman Bulletin. They essentially do what I say we should be doing. I'm almost positive where, the fandom will react to something that's clearly is not correct, and then they'll come back and be like, oh yeah, no, this is what my sources say, and it's just common sense.
Yeah.
So
it's like, Bat in the chat says this is being overanalyzed. It's impossible to overanalyze it because there is nothing to overanalyze. He has certainly written multiple drafts. That's the end of it.
Yeah. So there you go. We just wanted to throw in a few other things that didn't start with Ahsoka. There you go. Now it's time for the fan segment. That's right. Every week, we're the only dumbass fan podcast out there to dedicate a segment to its very, 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 very tiny fan base. We give you two options to join in on the fun. Question of the week goes up on Instagram at StarWarsTime.show. I threw it on TikTok today. 0 traction, so I'll stop doing that. Every once in a while, someone on Twitter comes alive. But that's how you get in the question of the week. We just need you to interact. Tell the algorithm you like us. Like our account. Hit like. Say show post. Do whatever the fuck you got to do. Pull out your PUD, jerk on it a few times. I really don't know how to get engagement to work on Instagram anymore. So if you know the secret, let me know. I should just start having Beyond the Dune Sea fucking share the content, because last week somehow they've kind of caught the IG algo where I think they're actually getting people that want to look at their content versus, hey, can you start posting action figures again? That's kind of why we've stalled out. So.
They're prettier than us. They're
exactly. Yeah, they're more camera ready as well. So there you go, Connor. Start doing the question of the week for us, and then we'll air it on our show. Thank you. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into the question of the week. It's easy right now, friends, because we are in season. So the question's always going to be asking the fans what they thought about the most recent new version of Star Wars. So. Obviously. Ooh, this one's a video this week. Let's see what that... Oh, I can hear the music. No one else will, though, I bet. I'll dance for you, though. What was your favorite or least favorite part from Ahsoka Episode 5, Shadow Warrior? All right, Nick, just big blocks again. Rip it.
I got it. Rippick Tan kicking us off with the first response here says, not sure if I have a singular moment as a favorite. Definitely just loved every minute. Episode 5. Hayden is truly amazing as Anakin. I'd say Jason was the surprise standout. I was really moved by his scenes, and that says a lot considering he's performing during live action.
I brought that point up, right? That I really appreciate how Jason was used as the vehicle to kind of get some Force talk going on, right? Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah. Just remember, before Ahsoka released, New Jedi will rise. This guy said Jason Syndulla.
One day you motherfuckers will get the idea that we are the best. Who cares what day we broadcast, you fucks? God damn it. The excuses you give me sometimes, it's like, fuck!
Oh, man. All right, next up, Clone Wars 501st. He says, favorite part was the whole episode. Least favorite part was when it ended. Simple as that. Yeah, I mean, that is 100%
Ooh,
true.
Kill Cutter in the house.
Just remake all of the Clone Wars episodes with Hayden and little baby Ariana Greenblatt as little baby Ahsoka.
Do it quick before she, starts getting more hormones and stuff and turn into a full woman.
Before she actually grows up. So, all right. Awesome stuff from Clone War 501st. Mythos Boba says, OMG, getting a glimpse of the Clone Wars in live action. Incredible. Anakin and Ahsoka at the time were freaking goats.
They're still goats. Right. Mythos, come on, brah.
Next up.
By the way, Mythos has a fantastic British accent. I've been watching some of his. Yeah, when you listen to them break down Star Wars, it always sounds more intelligent than us. It does. No doubt.
Tones 1138, our good buddy. He says absolutely everything. Every minute was pure Filoni perfection.
Hey, we're gonna change this. I'm giving Kingdom of Weird a live comment. How about that?
Oh, shit.
We should. Hey, we'll open it up. If you're in the live chat and you want to drop your comment for the question of the week, let's do it. Best bit was that Anakin finally found a way to save the ones he loves from dying. Boom. Not bad. I like that.
Nailed it.
All right.
Good
Sorry,
stuff.
Ned, go ahead.
Kingdom of Weird.
I like that, though. Yeah, if you're in the chat and you want to get some shit in, let's go.
Yeah, good stuff. 2797 Studios, we know. He says, I'm just going to go with the entire episode. That's a very popular response right now. Some of the best Star Wars content in decades. Anakin, Vader, Ahsoka through the years. Rex, clones, give me more. Yeah, that's why I said just remake all of Clone Wars live action. Easy money.
Back up that brink truck, Dave. Let's go. Beep, beep, beep. Hayden's ready. He needs that money, although I bet his residuals are nice. Hopefully he signed it. Hopefully George gave him a decent deal.
I know, right? Because they could have cut him a shit deal for sure, because he wasn't
he had like a movie or two. I mean, Ewan and Natalie probably got decent, and Liam, but poor Hayden.
Yeah, he might have got the short end of that stick for sure. Anyway, SW Props, our good buddy, says, honestly, least favorite part is the episode ended. Favorite part was seeing Hayden receive his flowers. He deserves it all. He proved the haters wrong. Yes, we definitely agree with that.
I think I've always clarified that I never blamed this on Hayden. I always blamed it on George and the script and just Revenge of the Sith. I know props, all you people, that's it for you. But I'm telling you, one day when you get old and you really think about it, and you can think about that movie without your kid brain, you'll be like, Matt was right. They did not handle his fall properly. It's fucking stupid. It's unearned. It's janky. Moving on. Go ahead. Next.
Awesome. Nova Toymation says, seeing Anakin train and make peace with his Padawan was just amazing Star Wars to watch. Very pleased with how they handled Anakin in his return, and Hayden crushed it. He did. He crushed it for sure.
Right?
Annie can. ANIKAN. Not ANIKAN, but you know what?
It works.
Annie can be a good master every now and then.
That's right, Props. Hold on, he just got here. He just noticed I got Shemal. There you go, buddy.
Oh, yeah,
have yourself some fun in the bathroom after the show.
Mando Pirate says, my favorite part was seeing Ahsoka trust in the Force again and believe she'll find Sabine and Ezra. I mean, that is true. Like she did kind of have that come back to the light moment after her time in the WBW with Anakin. So good call there.
100%. I mean, that's 100% what it is. It's like, hey, I'm living again. It's exactly what her master was trying to get her to fucking figure out.
Yeah. And then finally, Mark Allgaier says, nothing was better than the Anakin to Vader transformations. Just perfect. Yeah, I mean, that was just excellent, like film work, editing work, all around, just like all types of cinematography work.
Like we said
Fantastic.
earlier, it's Star Wars rarely goes for high art, in my opinion. I think Andor was one of the first times it was like, holy shit, look at the cinematography. You know what I mean? It's not like you ever just like, oh, look at the cinematography in Star Wars. It was always everything else like, holy shit, look at all the blah, 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 blah. But yeah, this is the first time I was like, holy, this is artistic storytelling in Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was
everything. It was the writing, the
stuff.
performances, the directing, just choice. And as I said, everyone temper yourselves. I mean, the last 2 weeks was a little bit of cheating. Okay. It's a little bit of cheating.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting back to the story, if you will. So let's be okay. I don't want to see everyone coming out with their fucking pitchforks and tiki torches again. They go, let's just be happy, okay? Move on.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right. That is the end of the question of the week for this week. We're now moving on to the top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. To get involved in this segment, add tag.
Yeah,
add tag
do
at
something.
StarWarsTime.show. I mean, honestly, we've had a lot of ad tags.
It has like, filled up, but I still have to pull from all over the place just to fill like a daily video. So
yeah. So yeah, the ad tag usage has continued to climb, which is good to see. Continue to do that for those of you who are already out there doing it. And for those of you who are doing it and perhaps have friends that aren't doing it, go ahead and tap them on the shoulder. Say, hey, add tag StarWarsTime.show on Instagram.
You don't have to be that nice. Just be like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Get with the program, dickhead.
Do a little good cop, bad cop. Hit them with both. See what they respond to. But that's how you get involved. When you add tag, it drops into our feed. I see them, and that's where I pick the top 5 from. So to kick off the top 5 this week, we have at @JKhaled_M. And this is an incredible portrait close-up shot of dark Luke Skywalker, something that we really never got to see in official Star Wars canon, but was a part of the extended or the old extended universe, the old EU Legends now. During that time period, Luke Skywalker did kind of feign a fall to the dark side to take on the clone Emperor then. So for those of you who are out there, it's like, oh my God, the Emperor came back in new Star Wars. Guess what? He came back in Legend Star Wars too. So, but yeah, this is just an awesome, like up close portrait shot of a potential dark Luke Skywalker.
I'm glad you brought up Legends, because I shared that clip today too, where Dave's essentially like, yeah, all you people thought what is now called Legends was real. It never was. Go fuck your mom is essentially what he said. So thank you. Legends have always been legends is what he said. And that came from George Lucas.
I'm reading the Darth Plagueis book right now from Legends. Top-notch stuff. Really, really good content there.
Well, hopefully they'll steal from it and make it real at some point in time.
Yeah, it's like Filoni's like, Legends have always been legends until I decide to take all the shit from Legends and then put it in the shows that I need. It's like, yeah, okay, Dave. Yeah, we get it. It's only good content when you decide it's good content and then you steal it all to put into your shit. We get it. We get it, Dave.
That's why I brought
it
up, because I know you book readers, you get very possessive of those legends.
Oh man. So good stuff there at @JKhaled_M. Beautiful dark Luke Skywalker.
Look at Connor. His image comes up and he says, friggin' masterful. Thanks for sharing this. I think he was saying it about Jay Collins.
Of course. But yes, I guess this is another time for us to put praise on Connor here. So this is press_pause_photography_, aka Connor T in our chat right now. And Connor has given us an incredible portrait of, I mean, this used to be called Mythos Obi-Wan, right? But now it's just Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Kenobi TV
Kenobi
series.
the White, right?
Yeah, it's like Kenobi the White, Kenobi the whatever, Kenobi from the TV show. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi on Tatooine cutting down some Kenobi. Of those. Yes. Cutting down some of those pesky Imperials that are constantly patrolling the sand dunes of Tatooine, and he's doing it in style. This is just another.
You know what's my favorite part about this shot is that Connor positioned the goggles to look like he was kind of finishing that move. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like slightly
in the half robe, like it's a nice attention to detail there, and that's how you know someone knows what they're doing.
Oh yeah,
it's super clean. Like that head, I believe it's a custom from Fett Clone. The body looks like figure arts Kenobi from Revenge of the Sith. But yeah, just good shit. And Press Pause, he's the guy I was talking about earlier, doing the Beyond the Dune Sea. Listen, Connor, don't take this personally. I'm such a narcissist, it's hard for me to still speak this even though I fully support and love their content. But if you're going to watch any other Star Wars content or podcast, I bless Beyond the Dune Sea officially. No one else. You can't watch anyone else. Mm-hmm. And if you watch them, you have to be like, hey, we're watching you because Star Wars Time Show said so. That's the only reason, right? I'm just kidding. They really do. And they're doing a good job over there. And I hope, unlike us, that the internet carries them to success.
Yeah, the internet gods.
The internet has spoken, and we're dead. We've been booted off the island. We just do this for fun.
That's always why we do it. I always do it for fun. Right. Good stuff there. Love it. Press_pause_photography_. Always a pleasure to see
coming up next.
This next one here.
This is what gets you into magazines and websites for toy photography here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Kill Cutter. So at Kill Cutter Photo on Instagram. Kill Cutter's in the chat right now. And I mean, this shot here is just some, you're talking about Legends. You're talking about Old Republic. You're talking about all this shit.
This is some World Between Worlds, man.
This is some legendary shit we're seeing right here. We're seeing like a battle of the ages in the world between Siths of all eras. So basically what we're seeing here is a battle between Darth Malgus, Darth Nihilus, Darth Maul, Darth Vader, and in the background, kind of, with his hands doing his
doing his thing.
Yes, is Palpatine in the back. This is truly a just next level creative and just visual feast of a shot from Kill Cutter.
I mean, this is exactly what would happen if 5 Sith were in the world between worlds. This is exactly these are the lessons they would be imparting on each other, is trying to fucking kill each other. But I do like, because I was asking you, I think was it last week, Malgus v Vader, because Malgus the figure really is starting to I'm forming an affection for this character just based on his action figure. And I'm like, could he beat down Vader? And so far, Kill Cutter is saying yes.
Dude, I mean, Malgus is a force, and he is a force. The thing is like, if it was Anakin Vader, like full body Anakin Vader, different story because it's a different style of like combat and everything else. Darth Malgus is a force, is like he comes at you like Balin Skull, heavy blows. And it's the same way that Vader fights, except Malgus isn't as broken as Vader. That's the thing. Like Malgus is just a beast of a human being. And like, it's just I don't know. There's so much to like about this photo. I mean, the wave effects coming off of the lightsabers, Nihilus in the background, just looking like a badass with his two sabers. Like even if you like zoom in on fucking Maul's face, just like that evil grin he's got on his face.
I got next.
Malgus,
Nick, to me, it's almost like this is a true test from Palpatine for Vader, where he's just throwing all these old school Sith Lords and his former apprentice at the poor guy to, keep that anger ratchet up so he gets that ultimate power he always wanted out of Vader.
Oh yeah. I mean, that is a fantastic way to think about it. It's like, do you really want to prove yourself? Prove yourself against some of the best Sith in history. I mean, just fucking top-notch shit. I don't know if Kill Cutter like sells things, if he has like
prints.
A place where you
Nick's
can
Nick's
buy
looking
prints.
to spend money. He used to do this, people. Watch out.
Yeah, like I got some wall space in my new office, and
he
like,
just moved into a mansion. So come on.
I mean, this is a next level piece of art that I would definitely hang up on my
He's
wall.
He's saying, wink, wink, Kill Cutter, send me a PayPal link.
Yeah, it's like, I'll buy it. Just put it on a poster.
Well, like Connor's saying here, this is something you'd see on one of those metal posters at a con, and that's exactly how Nick should order it and expect it to be delivered. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it is just so good. So,
you know what?
So
I
much.
think Kill Cutter has been out selling shit, so you might be able to get something here. We'll see if they listen.
Yeah, I gotta check on the IG or if he's got any sort of.
It is so badass, though, dude. It's such a fucking killer shot. I'd even put that shit on a T-shirt. Just.
Oh yeah, if you're looking, Kill Cutter, to make some money, just put this image on and put it on a coffee mug, put it on a fucking poster, put it on a T-shirt, put it on a toilet seat cover.
I mean, what I've come across, as long as you're not the Star Wars Time Dot show, you can copyright infringe and make money off of copyrights anywhere. So as long as you're not affiliated with us, you're good to go. Make that cash.
Make that cash.
All right, he's hitting us
Good
up,
stuff.
Nick. I'll get the DM and pass it on to you.
Ooh, yes.
I may want this one too, to be honest with you.
I mean, this is some badass shit.
Hey,
So,
Kill Cutter, do you have
here.
a title for this? If you don't mind sharing, since you're in the chat, if you would title it, what would you call it? I guess.
I think he just called it War Between Worlds. Is what he
I'm
put
fucking
in the caption.
stupid. Okay, thank you.
There it is. War Between Worlds.
I'm so fucking
shower
dumb.
curtain. Bat.
I'm so dumb.
Bat wants a shower curtain.
See,
put it on a shower curtain.
Friends, I just did not listen to my own lessons on media literacy and just did what most of you do. Speak without reading. There we go.
Reading.
What a fucking idiot. Hey, the other thing is, it looks like this is a submission for Work More or Less's little group, the Figment 5. So Jason, it's over. The competition is over.
Yeah, this is the winner.
All right.
This is the winner.
You can tell
That's it.
the four other of the five that the two experts in Star Wars art made the decision for you all. Thank you.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Good stuff.
Move along.
All right. Next up, Scissor Me Xerxes puts out an awesome
Real world, yeah, exactly, grounded Star Wars shot. And this is basically like what would happen if the Empire had occupation over Earth. So what we see is just like a very, like almost like an LA street style shot. San Francisco, actually.
Okay, there you go. San Francisco listed right there in the title, or like in the location.
We're killing
of it.
it on
we know how to
literacy
read
today.
here at the Star Wars. Yeah, we know how to read here at the Star Wars Time Show. But it is literally a stormtrooper commander patrolling the streets of San Francisco, and this is kind of what it would look like if the Empire had made its way to Earth and occupied the Earth. And I think it's just like such a cool, grounded, in-world shot, and really like brings a stormtrooper, a piece of Star Wars into our own galaxy. So I really enjoy that part of it.
Yeah, sorry. I'm the women just came home and it's very distracting up there. There's like multiple little kids. But no, Scissor's been a fan of ours forever, and this is kind of how they operate with in real world Star Wars, and I do dig it. I think that's a Hot Toys, but the angle they took, like you said, it kind of makes them look life size. He's regulating the streets in San Fran. So it really is a great Star Wars in real life art piece.
Oh yeah, 100%. Scissor.me.
No, we just
on.
Connor was ready to enter the Figment 5 challenge for Star Wars, but now that we just made the proclamation,
save it for the next one.
He's holding it back.
Save it for the next one. We got the winner.
Hey, when you see greatness and you just gotta gotta admit that you've been beat.
Yeah. So there we go. Scissor Me Xerxes with that awesome in-world Star Wars shot. And then to close out the top 5 for this week, we have Jedi_Knight_Inside with an awesome shot of our good friend Ahsoka Tano on the battlefield, cutting down droids with explosions in the background. It's always fun when there's an explosion in the background, your hero's facing the camera and just walking away calmly from the destruction. And that's what Jedi Knight Inside has given us. I always love to see Ahsoka in toy form cutting people up.
Yeah, no, this one's great. It's a play on Siege of Mandalore, her grand entrance, if those of you remember from the actual animated version. It was even more fantastical than what you got to see. Oh my God, and Shadow Warrior. Great shot. Love the background. I'm thinking it's a mix of Digi. Having practical figures in the foreground really sells that kind of the depth of field you get there. And it's our girl. I mean, one of her best forms. I'm going to need to see an Ahsoka the White figure. I definitely love the costume. I think it looks dope as fuck in live action. I want to see what it's going to look like on a figure. But as of right now, this is probably still the best Ahsoka Black Series figure out there. The Siege of Mandalore one. Yeah.
Clean as hell. So good shit. At Jedi_Knight_Inside on Instagram. That's the top 5. And then that is the end of our show for this week.
Woo!
My friends.
Good stuff,
Matt,
man.
Close us on
Good
out.
Good stuff. Shit. We almost did the 3 hours there. I'm going to have a few minutes to eat before 8 o'clock or no eating for me. Yeah. No, just kidding. I'll break that fucking fast. Just won't eat. Eat early tomorrow. It's all good. But as Nick said, it's time to put 278 to bed. It was a great time. Really, overanalyzing, as we always do, Ahsoka Episode 5, the one from a week ago, kind of giving our thoughts, setting you up for tonight. Don't forget how just a little over an hour away, depending on where you are in the world, for the Ahsoka Episode 6. We think it's going to lean hard on the bad guys. I'm hoping for kind of like a fresh perspective right from the get-go. We just get right in with the new galaxy, Thrawn, Ezra, then we check in with the bad guys, ultimately maybe a peek with the good guys before it's all over. But we love when you come hang out, so keep going. Keep coming. Keep spreading the word. There's always time for Star Wars Time. StarWarsTime.net is your best resource when you're trying to sell the show, stumping for it, whatever you want to call it. If you've been watching second season of Foundation, I like to think of you as my magicians, all right? You are the clerics of Harry Seldon, but now you are the clerics of the Star Wars Time Show. Go out there, use some magic, use some flair, sell the SWTS, let everyone know. It doesn't matter when the fuck we broadcast, you're going to get some of the best speculation, insights, deep thoughts, fan fiction, you name it. Anything you would ever want to waste your time on listening to other idiots talk about Star Wars. We're number one. And I'm putting Beyond the Dune Sea at number 1.5. How's that? Mm-hmm. There's always time for Star Wars Time, my friends. Let's keep building it up. Let's have some fun. And special announcement, mostly to prove a point. Nick and I, for at least the last 2 episodes of Ahsoka, are going to move things to Wednesday. All right? We've heard some feedback from a lot of you like, hey, we love you guys, but your show schedule is fucking stupid. It's late. It's old. It's tired. So we're going to do it. Fuck it. The fact that they release the show on Tuesday nights now, that opens my Wednesdays a bit more, so I'm ready to give it a try. Even though I'll literally be working all the way up until the 5 o'clock go time, I'm going to do it, and we'll see what happens. I have a very, very good idea that it's not going to change a fucking thing. We're still going to have almost no one watching and zero engagement, but we'll see, because I do appreciate those of you that tell us we should be bigger than we are, and the reason is because our schedule. I think it's just me at this point in time, so we'll see next week. But like I said, keep tuned to the socials. We mostly communicate TikTok at Star Wars Time Show, Instagram at StarWarsTime.show, and then on Twitter, fuck X, whatever the fuck that stupid ass thing's called these days. All right, we'll be with you, everyone. If you want to chat after you watch the episode tonight, I'm more than eager to do so in our Discord. You can get the public link, StarWarsTime.show, Instagram. Just go into our bio, check out the link tree. You'll find it there. You know, let's kick the tires on the episode. Let's be fans. Let's have fun. And then tomorrow, or whenever you're listening to this, if you're more of the audio only, you know I'm going to have my unscripted one take. That's right. I want to see the rest of you turn on your camera and hit go and speak for 15 minutes straight without stopping. You can't do it. And it doesn't matter because no one gives a fuck. But we know you do, so keep it up. There's always time for Star Wars Time. You tell them what they need to hear. If they listen to the Star Wars Time Show, the Force will be with you. Manny Mac, it's dropping 9 p. East, bro. 6 Pacific, 8 Central. We think 7 Mountain Time. But as I was saying, if you listen to the Star Wars Time Show, the Force will be with you. Not yet. Not yet. Hold on, people. I forgot to switch screens. With you. Always. No, not that. Always. There we go.